are watching We All Be News Radio, News Free Dixie for the 21st century. I'm Thaddeus Matthews.
Today is your special day. Happy birthday, happy birthday. It's your birthday. Whoa, 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 it's your birthday. Talking about it's your birthday. And today is yours.
This is Judge Joe Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News, News Free Dixie for the 21st century.
Welcome, family, to another wonderful edutainment edition of the Artivist Thinks. Today's show is about my Mother's Day 2010 experience. I want to share with y'all Mother's Day 2010. Today, of course, is Mother's Day, and I had a great experience. I got a story to tell. Now, it was funny because I was in Whitehaven, Whitehaven, known as Black Haven. That's a part of town in Memphis. That's South Memphis. The locals call it Black Haven, but it's officially known as Whitehaven. And I was at a Exxon gas station, taking my mom treating her for Mother's Day dinner down at Paula Dean's restaurant in Tunica at one of the casinos. Yeah, that's 2010, y'all. Don't judge me. Don't judge me now. That was 2010. We didn't know better back then. But I was on my way. We take a stop at the Exxon gas station right before we got into the state line territory going into Mississippi. And I can remember as I got in my car, I had to go inside the convenience store of the gas station, and they were playing Al Green on the speakers, on the public speakers, on the loudspeakers. So it was crazy because as soon as I got in to the convenience store, I heard a voice. As soon as I got to the convenience store, I saw the cashier, and I saw customers looking away at a certain place, like bedazzled, amazed. It was kind of crazy because everybody had their eyes on a particular area of the store. And so I remember when I got into the store, after I saw what they were doing, I realized that I heard a voice in person that sounded a lot like the Reverend Al Green. By the way, Al Green has a church called Full Gospel Tabernacle Church. He has a church nearby in that vicinity. But anyway, everybody was looking at this place where this voice emanated from that sounded familiar. It sounded like the brother Al Green that was singing on the loudspeakers. Come to find out, it was the brother, the Honorable Reverend Al Green, singing by the Hostess Cupcakes and the Twinkies, right along with this hit song playing on the loudspeakers. It was crazy. I remember I asked him, I said, brother, are you who I think you are? He said, yes, brother, yes. I am Al Green. He said something like that, but he said, yes, I am Al Green. Okay, so it was Al Green, because everybody that was looking knew it was Al Green singing to his song on the loudspeakers Mother's Day 2010. If I had the presence of mind, I would have ran out to the car, got my mom and had Al Green serenade to her. And that could be the greatest Mother's Day gift of all time, to have Al Green serenade your mom at the XR gas station. But anyway, he was pretty humble and cool, very accessible, good brother. And he got into his white Mercedes fully loaded that was parked in front of the store and just drove away like nothing happened. It was amazing because people like, man, like, who would thought, on your way getting gas on Mother's Day that you would bump into Al Green singing his tunes on the loudspeaker. So anyway, that's my Mother's Day tale for 2010. If you like what you heard and you think it's okay, it's kind of all right or kind of good, feel free to subscribe. Feel free to spread it to your networks. And also feel free to donate to We All Be, because we got a lot of great stories coming up to help fund and sustain the revolution, the movement. And in the words of the great BearthDay family, we love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing and thinking.
And hello, everybody out there. This is your brother Ron, also known as R2C2H2, the artivist, and this is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. I've been giving y'all back-to-back shows, lately. But thank y'all for tuning in and hanging out, and thank you all who have been supportive. Words of encouragement, voice messages, text messages, emails, donations. I appreciate you all. Because I guess by y'all showing y'all support, it means that there's work to be done and I'm needed on the front line. So I'm reporting to duty. It's Brother Ron, and this is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. And today is a great show. It's an intro show. We're going to be celebrating the one and only Reverend A.L.L. Green. We're going to be celebrating Al Green, who is truly a living legend. People always use that term very loosely sometimes, but he is a legend, one of the greatest, if not the greatest soul singer of all time. I mean, I know people got their picks, Sam Cooke, but Judge Joe Brown don't like any of those guys. I'm just joking. He don't really like any of those guys. Judge in the house. He don't like them. But I love Sam Cooke, and Al Green was definitely an admirer of Sam Cooke. That's his hero, one of his musical heroes. But he don't sound like Sam Cooke. He sounds like Al Green. And that gets back to what I was saying yesterday on the show about, you want to be your own person. You want to have your own sound. It's not important to sound like somebody else. You can't be Sam Cooke. God only made one Sam Cooke. God definitely only made one Al Green. But I tell you what, sometimes, I was thinking about this conversation some years ago. I was saying, do anybody get Al Green confused with Ron Isley from the Isley brothers, the brothers Isley? And it's funny. Maybe not. I was gonna say something, but I ain't gonna get trapping that anti-Asian hate stuff going on. I'm gonna leave that alone. So maybe I could have said what I wanted to say 5-10 years ago, but it's a different time. But I was like, well, Ron Isley sound like Al Green, or does Al Green sound like Ron Isley? But there's a difference. You could actually tell. You could listen to the difference, but they're both great. But I was thinking about, you just had their verses with Earth, Wind, and Fire and the Isley brothers. Maurice White is from Memphis. Al Green was actually born April 13th, 1946 in Forest City, Arkansas, right across the Lazy River. I told y'all last night that was the city that was actually founded by Nathan Bedford Forrest, the first Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, and also war criminal at large, and also general of the Confederacy. Yeah, Forrest. Yeah. And also that where T.I. spent his federal time for doing that gun stuff. They sent him over to Forest City, Arkansas. But, I guess there's one good thing that came out of that place was Al Green, the Right Reverend Al Green, and Memphis Soul. I mean, he made his mark. He really was a phenomenon of the 1970s. And we're going to pay homage to Al Green. We're going to talk about that grits and birthday suit incident that happened on October 18th, 1974 in his palatial home his 21-room mansion out there in the boonies. We're going to talk about that and compare notes, and also we're going to talk about some other things, because this is We All Be. Nobody does it like us. Nobody does it better than Brother Ron. In my lane, in my zone, I am New Black Media. I've been doing this for a long time. Like I said, this April marks the 15th anniversary of the We All Be movement, the We All Be project. So I've been doing this for 15 years. Don't seem like it, but and just reflecting. Man, we got a lot of interesting things out there for the people. Like I just got through watching Moment of Truth, that limited series or docu-series about Daniel Green, the guy who's in prison for allegedly killing Michael Jordan's father, James Jordan. His friend, the Native American Larry Demery, is scheduled to get out in August of 2023. And I actually encountered Brother Daniel Green before all y'all knew. I mean, y'all talking about Vlad TV in this docu-series. He reached out to me back in 2016, the summer of 2016. I connected him with Baba Dick Gregory, because Baba Dick Gregory knew even back then that there was something off about that whole case. He tried to connect with his lawyers, but after seeing that docu-series, his lawyers screwed him royally. They screwed him. Y'all need to look at their documentaries on IMDb, accessible through Amazon Prime. If you got a Fire Stick, I guess you get it through there. But he had a chance to be home right now. He actually been in prison 17 to 18 years too long. And the reason why, because they had a mistrial. His court trial case, it was unethical. The prosecutor was very highly unethical. And really, it was crazy because his legal counsel, his defense team wanted them to declare a mistrial. They wanted the judge to declare a mistrial because of some of the things that the prosecutor presented in his closing statements or in his arguments that really crossed the line. It was highly unethical. And the judge asked Daniel, what did he want to do? Did he want to side with his legal counsel and declare a mistrial? Did he agree with their assessment? And he was told by his legal counsel, look, we got this guy on the ropes. I mean, you could tell about the prosecutor, we're going to win this case. They didn't inform him that he sided with them, with his counsel. And for the record, that the judge probably would have considered in declaring a mistrial. And by him doing so, he could never be tried for that murder thing again. From my understanding from watching the document, his legal counsel did not inform him of the legalese. He trusted these people. Just like he trusted that Native American who he thought was his best friend. Like even on my show, he talking about how he valued loyalty above anything else. So he was loyal to this Native American guy who actually did kill James Jordan, not him. And so he's been in prison for almost 30 years. Didn't even do it. He's trying to help a friend. He was an accessory after the fact. So he did help, move the body. He helped, he got the jury and all that stuff to watch it, but he was not actually there for the actual murder. He did not commit the murder. He had all these alibis. He's over a person's home, had all these alibis. He never took the stand, but his lawyer, his legal counsel failed that man. Because they say, look, man, if you agree with the mistrial assessment, if the judge said, okay, we would declare a mistrial, I mean, you could never be tried again for that murder offense. But his so-called Native American friend sold him out, somebody he knew since childhood. And he was calling himself protecting the Native American. But, and now, Brother Daniel's a jailhouse lawyer. He's very brilliant because when I first talked to him, I could tell he was very intelligent. The fact that he told me he read Dr. Amos Wilson's, Blueprint to Black Power or something like that. Y'all know him, Dr. Amos Wilson. Y'all just know. Y'all very educated. But the fact that he would tell me his reading, and I looked at that docu-series, man's highly intelligent. I just knew he didn't do it. I mean, he's guilty for being dumb. A lot of smart people do stupid stuff every day. Nobody's immune to stupidity or stupid acts. I don't care how brilliant or how high your IQ is. But I honestly do believe he did not do it. I honestly do believe that he paid his debt to society. He don't strike me as a killer. I mean, even when I talked to him on the phone a couple of times, but even looking at his body language and his tone and how he seemed like, he very spiritual. Like I know he's deep into the Muslim faith from what I can tell, but it's like he got, I just hope that brother can get out because he's still a young man. He's in his 40s, and hopefully he can get out and do some things to help. But we'll see. I mean, we back on the case. Like I said, we encountered that brother back in 2016. We actually was working on doing something where he could broadcast daily through our platform, but things move on. Baba Dick Gregory has become a righteous ancestor, but he called it back then. He knew that something was off, but like that Baba Dick Gregory told me he could never get in touch with the brother because the legal defense team he had was not receptive to Dick Gregory at that time. But now we know perhaps not only the Native American was involved in killing James Jordan, Michael Jordan's father, but also the sheriff at that time, his son, who only served 4 years in prison. But he probably, because like the first call that was made was to the sheriff's illegitimate son. I mean, son out of, he had an extramarital affair, Hubert Stone, his son, who's also named Hubert, but his last name is different. But that was the first phone call he made on Michael Jordan's daddy phone, was to that guy who they were actually co-workers at this mobile home place or whatever. But check out that documentary, Moment of Truth, on IMDb. That's available through Amazon Prime. It is worth your time. It's a 5-part series. Like I said, he didn't do it. The brother should not be in jail right now. He should not be in prison right now at all. But moving on, we're talking about Al Green, and we're gonna give a shout out to brother Al. We're gonna talk about that night, the infamous night of October 18th, 1974. They will live on in infamy, But moving on, man. There's so much going on. I know Minnesota's hot right now. The block is hot, but I'm there, we gotta wake up, man. People, we can't keep on doing the same damn thing. I mean, I'm not gonna even talk about that right now. Unfortunate situation, but how we handle stuff ain't gonna be the best solution for where we need to go. And people just talking all this madness on social media, stuff that needs to be done don't need to be broadcast. That's all I got to say. The stuff that we need to do don't need to be broadcast. Had a chance to honor the Right Reverend back in September 2017. I was at his church, Right Reverend Al Green's church. We gave him a Jimmy Lunsford Legacy Award for, of course, he's a music icon, brilliant man, made some incredible classics, baby making music. A lot of babies were conceived by Al Green's music, helping. So we had to honor the brother. And it was like, I think on my second trip to his church, the Full Gospel Tabernacle Church, which is in Whitehaven. And you know what's the crazy thing about it is majority of the people that be at that church are not from Memphis. They are from out of the country, from out of town, out of state. They come from around the country. They come from around the planet. I'm from Japan and Africa and Italy and England, Australia, Canada, Mexico, all around the country just to see this man. Okay, I don't know how long I was gone. I'm just checking some weird stuff going on. I guess God don't like ugly. I'm trying to bounce out. I ain't trying to do wrong by the right reverend. I don't know how long I was gone. I'm just checking some weird stuff going on. I guess. Okay. I guess it's working all right. I'm gonna look at the chat. Can y'all hear me now? I don't know how long I was out. Can somebody let me know in the chat? Y'all can hear me. All right, thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know how long but I was saying, like his church, Al been preaching for over 40 something years. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank y'all for letting me know. Just let me know in the chat and things going crazy. Okay, excellent. But Al been preaching for 40 something years, and basically after that grits incident, but his church is Full Gospel Tabernacle Church out there in Whitehaven, right down the street from Graceland. And majority of his people that go to his Sunday services are not from Memphis. They're from around the country, around the world. It's very global, because people grew up on his music. People were conceived by his music, helping to conceive them. So he got a following, but it's like they say biblically, a prophet is always without honor among family and friends, your hometown. They don't really appreciate you. It's like he's down the street from Graceland, and people don't really understand. Yeah, Elvis died in Memphis, but he was more respected in Las Vegas than he was in Memphis. Even though Memphis was his home, he spent a lot of his time in Las Vegas and out there, doing shows and whatnot. But Al Green is right down the street from Elvis Presley land, Graceland. But most of his people come from around the country, around the globe, from Australia and Africa, Japan, China, Italy, South America, Mexico, Canada. All these folks come from around just to hear him, and he always threatened to sing some of his secular music, some love and Jesus Christ. So he don't go. He'll tempt people, but he try to stay. And really, just I'm not there to hear him preach. I don't like Judge talk about. He ain't the greatest preacher, but his music is so powerful and soul stirring, like his idol Sam Cooke. So let's pay homage to the brother. Yeah, he was singing some falsetto. He was singing things only dogs can hear probably that morning, that early morning. I don't know if the grits had cheese, but she could cook because Mary Wilson was originally from North Carolina. Them sisters, down south sisters know how to throw down, what I'm saying? Especially places like Alabama, Mississippi, and North Carolina, South Carolina. Women know how to cook out there. They used to know how to cook, but it's different time. Women are kind of different. They can't even cook water, but she could boil water. She boiled them water and grits, Was his Boulevard always a ghetto out? Rick Ross got that song Elvis Presley Boulevard. I guess anywhere, but you name MLK, we know what that about. But with Elvis, they actually rebuilding Whitehaven. They pumping money into Whitehaven. Whitehaven's making a comeback, because Whitehaven used to be a haven for white people. If you were black, you better not be going down to the Whitehaven back in the day. I mean, like my uncles and so you tell me about those type of times where Whitehaven was for white people. And then blacks start moving in. You got black folks, a lot of homeowners out there in Whitehaven. Interesting history out there, But good evening, Sister Midnight Green. Good to have you. Yeah, Al Green. I always tell people one of my dreams is to see a movie that features nothing but Al Green songs. They have a soundtrack that's Al Green, have the movie based on Al Green, like have a romantic comedy or whatever called Judy. One of my favorite Al Green songs is Judy. I love that song, and I think it was written actually by Larry Lee. And Al Green had that Puff Daddy thing going on where he owed people money, he wasn't paying people right. I think with Larry Lee was going to take him to court, whatever, or took him to court, and Al Green allegedly met on the court steps with a bag full of money. Unlike Judge Joe Brown, that actually had money in the bag, from my understanding. Because Al Green actually, whatever deal he made, I mean, he don't have to tour. I mean, he's living well. I mean, he's eating good. Like Nas, that King disease, he eating real good. You know what I'm saying? I eat good, but he eats real good. He He ain't hurting for no money. Matter of fact, if you go to his church, he got a recording studio and a publishing studio, a publishing office and recording studio, a separate building behind the church. But I went there twice. And the first time I was trying to connect with Al Green to give him the Jimmy Lunsford Legacy Award. And his I guess deacon / bodyguard enforcer was blocking me. It was crazy, man. It's like he was blocking me because like I was trying to give him. I just want to present him with this Jimmy Lunsford Legacy Award for lifetime achievement and take a picture. I ain't trying to interview him, but the dude kept on blocking me, and I caught myself waiting outside the church after services because his Mercedes was parked near the church entrance, but his bodyguard deacon dude, guard dog, moved the car, and I guess he was not gonna come out until we left. Some of us were still around trying to see if we could, just say hello and take a picture or whatever. And I had this award, so I said, you know what, I'm gonna come back with my mama, because my mom's my good luck charm when I'm trying to meet people. You know what I'm saying? So I went back to the church with my mom, and when we was doing meet and greet time, like Al doing the service, he wanted to acknowledge the folks that came around the world to see him for that Sunday. And so, you a visitor, you can stand up and and state your name. So when he had that, any visitors want to stand up and tell us about yourself. I did my Kanye West moment. I just didn't bum rush out. I just came forward with the plaque. The bodyguard deacon was trying to stop me, like he was trying to grab me. I said, "No, let the brother. No, wait a minute. Let the brother speak. Let the brother come through. Come on, brother." So I came through, presented him with the plaque. People gave him a standing ovation, whatever. He allowed me to take some pictures with him. He had the plaque upside down, then he turned the right side up, whatever. And that was cool. And the dude felt defeated. He had that look in his eye. I said, "I beat you, man. You thought you gonna deny something that the good Lord has put in place to manifest. It was written, nigga." So he had that look in his face. Because then everybody else, when I did that, all the other folks started coming up and taking pictures with Al Green. Because at first they was not going to allow nobody to take no pictures with Al Green. But when I did my Kanye West thing, my little ninja moves, then everybody else started taking pictures with Al Green, taking selfies and stuff. He even blessed my mom. He put his hands on my mama, on her forehead. He anointed. Because Jesus is calling. So that was interesting. Yeah, Al Green got money for days. He ain't worried about no money. That's why he don't really tour that much, because he got money. Whatever deal he made, he was set. And people, I remember like looking on the internet recently about people talking about how Outkast was better than the Beatles. And the Beatles, I'm gonna be honest, Beatles are overrated. Now it's like they write great songs. If they wrote those, they wrote great songs. But if you listen to when people cover Beatles songs, a lot of their songs sound better by the people that cover their song. Like I look at Al Green, for example. He had a song that he covered on the Beatles called "I Want to Hold Your Hand." I want to hold your hand. Their version, but Al Green's version is smoking. Like Al Green was clowning on his version, "I Want to Hold Your Hand." That stuff was fire. Then he had the late great Willie Mitchell, who used to be the band back in Elvis back in the day. He used to back Elvis in the band. His brother Willie Mitchell from Orange Mound. I think he went to Melrose. Orange Mound, very powerful community. So Willie Mitchell produced Al Green stuff. He really basically discovered Al Green, and all that sounds y'all appreciate, all that them Al Green classics. Willie Mitchell was the mad scientist, the mad genius behind that stuff. And he was a gentleman too. He was always impeccable, class act. As far as I know, I don't know. The musicians guys, they might have other stories on these cats. They told me things, but I'm not going to talk too much all about that. That's not my story, or those are not my stories to tell. But you listen to, Al Green was phenomenal, man, on that track. But you listen to Wilson Pickett, "Hey Jude." I love his "Hey Jude" better than the Beatles. There's a lot of people that did covers of Beatles songs that sound better than the Beatles. Okay, to me they're overrated. People like, "Oh no, they did the Beatles." White folks made them the king. It's like you look at Rolling Stones, how they rank all the greatest artists, right? Why are the imitators on top while the originators on the bottom? How can you have the imitators on top of the originators? But that's America for you. Because like what B.B. King said, when they asked him what he thought about the Beatles, he said all they did was re-import the blues. because B.B. King, a lot of them blues musicians, Willie Dixon, Howlin' Wolf, Little Richard, they used to go over there and show them guys how to do that thing of ours. Like you talking about the mob, the thing of La Cosa Nostra, but we had our thing and we showed them how to do that. When Little Richard went over there one time, he had the Beatles and the Rolling Stones opening for him, and they were poor. They were church mouse poor. They were living in vans and crap. They were opening for Little Richard, who was a rock guy, as far as I'm concerned. Because there's a lot of cats that have been influenced and blessed by Little Richard. That he helped, like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones. He helped so many people eat. It's ridiculous. And Jimi Hendrix used to be part of one of his background musicians. But he said, Jimmy, I'm the only star that can shine in my band. Woo, you got to go, brother. You got to go. Oh, woo. Oh, wop, wobble, wobble, up, bamboo. Get out of here. Get out of here, child. But then he started singing Jimi Hendrix praises once he made it. He said, I discovered Jimmy and all that. Blah, 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 blah. But what I'm saying is, y'all got it twisted. The Beatles, they good at what they do. They did their thing, but they not the best. To me, you talking about Quincy Jones, all that line he was doing. I think he was telling the truth about Ringo Starr. We told the dude to take a break. And he brought in a jazz musician to play those drums. I don't think he was lying about that. It's like I said about Bob Dylan. Okay, whatever. But music is an interesting thing. Everybody ain't gonna always agree on the same thing. Like I said, like I like Thelonious Monk. There's a lot of professional musicians. They don't care for Monk. I love Thelonious Monk. But yeah, music's so subjective. But anyhow, let me see. Let's read this birthday tribute that I wrote for Al Green. Like I said, I get carried away sometimes. Like I said, these shows I do are very organic shows. they not playing. I'm not all that planning crap. I just speak off the top of my head. Sometimes I get excited, misstate things, misspeak. You know how that goes. Human error. That's me and Al, the right Al Green, Right Reverend Al Green, Bishop Al Green, at his church, Full Gospel Tabernacle, back in September 2017. But let me read my tribute to the Right Reverend. Then we'll get on with the show. Da 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 la 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 la. They almost sound alike, right? Ron Isley and Al Green. La 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 la. Thought I had it ready. I thought I had it in here. Okay. Yeah, we'll get on. On April 13th, 1946, 75 years ago, in the mythical Mississippi Delta, right across the bridge from Memphis, Tennessee, in a place called Forest City, Arkansas, yes, founded by that Nathan Bedford Forrest man, prolific slave trader, suspect war criminal, and first grand wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, a chocolate music genius and soul brother like no other, made his human debut. Happy Life Affirmation Day to the soul sanctified legend, the Right Reverend Al Green. I am wishing you an amplified blessing for many more, as well as peace, love, and happiness. See how it works? May your baby making music continue to aid in the manifestation of many more generations of beautiful human beings, man. We love you madly. So let me also read a post I did back in August of 21st, 2018. Y'all know Aretha passed away, Riri, on August the 16th of 2018. And y'all know or should know that she was born in Memphis, Tennessee. Like I said, this is a very interesting part of the country, very soulful part of the country. Please remember, as we mourn the late great Memphis-born Aretha Franklin, that we still have living legends among us who need to smell their flowers and get their standing room only ovations now. Literally just a few miles from Elvis Presley's Graceland, in the heart of Whitehaven, aka Black Haven, the Right Reverend Al Green, aka the Last Soul Man, still sings and preaches at the Full Gospel Tabernacle Church, located at 787 Hale Road, Memphis, Tennessee. zip code 38116. He has been doing his God work there almost every Sunday for the last 40 plus years. Al Green has the United Nation of Churches. Most of his visitors are not only out of towners, but also folks visiting from other countries. People come from as far away as China, Africa, Australia, Europe, and Japan to be blessed by his anointed voice in person. It is a damn shame that they outnumber Memphians in attendance. Memphis has been spoiled with riches and greatness as it relates to our music and cultural heritage, and yet too many of us live in a poverty mindset. Like the good book says, a prophet is always without honor in his hometown among family and friends, or something like that. With that said, I want to encourage more Memphians to witness this true universal treasure in person. We are losing too many of the greats these past seasons. Reverend Al is a gifted performer. His angelic pipes are blessing folks via the word and song. Every Sunday feels like revival. Plus, you are basically getting a free concert from a true living legend. And if you are really lucky, Reverend Al will lay his anointed hands upon you in prayer. Just ask my mom, Sister Callie Heard. I have included location and church services times in the photos. Reverend Al is waiting. May your week be blessed with love and happiness. Okay. So, oh my God. I hope I wasn't broke up by poor Wi-Fi. But yeah, so that was my tribute. That's me, Reverend Al, the right Reverend. He was actually very happy to get the award, and it made my day. It was like the month after Baba Dick made his transition, so it was good. It felt good to finally connect with Reverend Al and give him his flowers. So there you go. And let me see what else. I'm trying to see. Like I said, Full Gospel Tabernacle. I don't know what the situation is. Like, we living in this post-pandemic world. I don't know what their schedule is like now, but I'm gonna share with you some of the other photos I took at his church. So of course that one. I think I could see it. So that's his church program. So I guess the morning worship will start at 11:30 a.m. That's back in 2017, though. So I think that's the first time when August 27 was the first time I went, and his goon, bodyguard, watchdog, deacon dude blocked me from connecting with Al. But this is Full Gospel in the bottom right corner. That's my mom, Sister Callagher, getting them hands laying on her. Jesus is calling. The Full Gospel Tabernacle. A lot of white people there. Even had a motorcycle gang come to pay their respects from out of town. Yeah. So there you go. Now I think I'm making good time for the most part. But okay. Now, y'all know I had Judge Joe Brown on my show on Sunday. Get down with Judge Joe Brown. Get down with Judge Joe Brown. Judge in the house. Judge in the house. He was in the house for 4 hours almost. And thank you. Yeah, thank you for the nice one. Like obituary. Well, I actually saw Al. He did a concert some years ago at the the Dixon Galleries or Dixon Gardens somewhere. He did Botanical Gardens or something like that. They had outdoor concert series. Like Al Green was a part of it, and Diana Ross did one concert as well. I enjoyed Diana Ross. I enjoyed Al Green, but it was kind of a lot of humidity and stuff, and I like to sweat a lot, so it wasn't really the best in terms of me sweating. But I enjoyed myself listening to Al Green and Diana Ross on another occasion. So I'm a true entertainer. I like to make a fool out of myself. I don't mind as I get older. I mean, this okay. Now I don't know if y'all can hear me. I'm gonna listen to it afterwards. I don't know if I'm breaking up or choppy or whatever because it's Wi-Fi. I guess you're not gonna talk bad about Reverend Al. I'm not trying to talk bad about Reverend Al tonight. I'm just trying to illuminate an interesting part of his story. That's all. Because I heard so many different versions about what happened October 18th, 1974. Just trying to share it with the people. I'm not trying. I guess he is one of God's chosen because my Wi-Fi ain't cooperating. I hope y'all let me know if y'all don't hear me or whatever. Because Jesus is calling. Jesus calling. He said, "You leave Reverend Al alone. You leave him alone now. You hear me? You heard me?" Yeah. So I'm gonna play this Judge Joe Brown clip from Sunday and see what's going on. And this is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. I guess that's what it is. I guess. I don't know. But the show will go on. Let me find that Judge Joe Brown clip from Sunday. Okay, here we are. Yes, we all be News Free Dixie. Judge in the house. Judge in the house. God.
But
yeah, I want this. Okay, I gotta ask you. It's a couple things. You talking Hollywood now? I got Al Green birthday is April 13th. He was born in Forest City, Arkansas. Founded by Nathan Bedford Forrest.
Crackhead.
Tell us the Al Green story. Come on, Judge. Tell the Al Green story.
That motherfucker owed me $5,000. Every time he sees me at an airport, he turns around and runs.
Okay. Tell us a story about that. Judge. What about that?
Oh, yeah. Here's the story. He's got this church here in Memphis.
Yeah.
Where he does the gospel of song because he can't preach. So he invites people to give his 11 o'clock services. So he invited me through my secretary who knew his secretary. So I said, okay, this is what my fee's going to be. So I show up and he gives me this sob story about the secretary forgot to sign the check. He had sent it immediately. So I had my secretary get on it Monday morning. She said, Judge Secretary said he gave Al cash. He just coked it up. But I said, damn. So he comes calling me up apologetic. The congregation really enjoyed you. Can you come? I said, man, where's my money? He said, well, I said, no, it goes up. So instead of what I quoted you for one, it's going to be 5,000 cash for both when I walk in. So I walked into the church. He's in his ecclesiastical robes, right? And he leaves me up in his damn pulpit after handing me this thick envelope with what appears to be bills in it. I put it in my pocket. These folk are my constituents out there. They've elected me as judge. I'm not about to go count money in front of them. Might get happy and think I'm giving it to the church or something. So anyway, about 10 minutes later, I look up and Rev has come out his ecclesiastical robes. He's got on red patent leather shoes, a red suit, a red shirt, a red tie with a red pimp brim under his arm and an ankle-length fur coat on, talking about, I'm going to leave the services in the hands of Judge Joe Brown. He can adequately guide, but there are some pressing issues I have to deal with. I looked up and that motherfucker left me in his pulpit. So when I concluded, I'll go out to my car and I'll open up the envelope. It's some cut up note paper in there. And I called him and said, fool, where's my money? The secretary said, he must have coked it up again. You can't. And I said, no, I'm not taking another chance. Give me my money. So every time I see him at the airport, it's been quite a few years since I saw him last. I said, where's my money, MF? And he turns around and runs. Literally runs.
I went to his church, the Full Gospel Tabernacle Church out there in Whitehaven near Graceland. And it's crazy. Most of his visitors are from from foreign countries, like from Australia, Japan, parts of Africa, China. Not too many people from Memphis go there. Excuse me, from our city go to that church, but a lot of people from out of town and out of the country come to see Al Green on Sundays.
Yeah, because they've got his records, but he's no good coke snorting, freebasing punk. And the rumors are true. Goes both ways.
Now, I mean, this is a disclaimer. We don't represent the views. I mean, Judge is his own man. I believe in freedom of
No, and I
expression.
live in
I'm reading the
Memphis.
disclaimer at the
Fuck
end,
these
Judge.
motherfuckers. He punk ass.
But I got to tell you, I got to ask you this question. I got to ask you about this because I know a lot of the old timers and the elders in the business who work with Al, they be telling me things about this different, not just Al Green, but there's different people from back in the day, the icons and whatnot. And I got to share with you, like, what's your thoughts about, let me see if I can find this picture. I'm gonna try to find it. I got to ask you about, let me see, that situation with Al back in the day.
You mean the bathtub and the grits?
Yeah, I got to ask you, like, what's your take on that?
She got mad at him because of his boyfriend.
So I'm gonna show a picture because a lot of people don't know the picture. This woman, that's Mary Woodson, beautiful sister from North Carolina, but she lived in New Jersey. Was a wife. She had kids. She was married with kids, and they, from my understanding, Al Green used to send flowers and roses and stuff to her home, not realizing that she was married. But she was a red bone, and her pictures don't do her justice because people talk about, I mean, she used to woo on guys like James Brown. All these black celebrities were into her. But she was a married woman with several kids. So I heard that Al had his friend there that night too. The airline stewardess was staying overnight, and that allegedly he bailed her out of jail, Mary Wilson, for a disturbance or something. I don't know if it was at the Peabody or something like that, but people told me several different versions of the story. All I know is that she ends up dead with his gun. I mean, did she kill herself? Do you think she killed herself?
I don't know. People do some crazy stuff.
But she predicted that he'll be a big, successful gospel, preacher. Yeah, because she was the one that said
he can't preach. All he does is sing.
Yeah, he wasn't really doing too much preaching when I saw him those several times either. He was just singing for the most part.
It's gospel by song. The gospel of song.
Just find a picture because a lot of people they never found. People don't know who she is. She's a mystery woman in terms of who she was. Let's see, I can find, and I don't think her pictures do her justice that much. I'm gonna find a picture of her full body, and then we're gonna move on. I gotta ask you some other things.
You gotta understand, I'm older than he is, and her too. So, kind of, sort of, not people I hung around with. Never have hung around with that crowd in Memphis, really.
So how you why did you lend him 5,000? You don't mind me asking, like, what was the situation where you said you wasn't hanging around him? That type of money was a lot of money back then, right?
He was supposed to pay me for getting in his pulpit. But the first time he took the cash that his secretary gave him and coked it up. And then the second bloody doggone time, he probably stole that. Drew it on the church expense account or something like that.
So that's Sister Mary. She's got the, I guess, dark pantsuit or whatever it is.
Yeah, I can see with the pink
guy.
Yeah. Top. Yeah.
Okay. She was shapely, man. I guess she was a brick house back in her time, but I mean, he was crazy about her. He wrote that song, Fa La 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 La, I think, I Love You or something like that. That was a song dedicated to her. Something that if y'all Al Green fans, y'all know what I'm talking about, that song.
I'm not an Al Green fan.
Oh, so you're not an Al Green fan. You don't even like Sam Cooke, though, Judge. You don't like Michael Jackson. You don't like no Sam Cooke.
We weren't into blues and all that stuff. We were into Motown, some Stax.
Okay. All right. I just want to share that picture with the people. Her name was Mary Woodson. That was her name. Look her up. And it's so many different versions of that story. But I heard he had bodyguards there that night. I don't know what to believe. That she shot into the house and then killed herself with his gun. But she did throw some grits on him, from my understanding.
A whole lot of people wanted to throw something on him.
And now Judge, I gotta ask you too, because Tina Turner just met her last. And y'all can actually listen to that, from last Sunday about his story about Tina Turner. It's like Judge doesn't like music, but he knows how to dance. He dances well, so I think he likes music. He doesn't like certain type of musicians or singers or artists, and he's entitled to his opinion. Because I know people say, "Well, I can't believe he don't care for Michael Jackson." I said, It's his business. Everybody gonna love Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? To a lot of folks, Michael Jackson is not the greatest of all time. And that's okay. But he's still great in his own right. I mean, there's a lot of great ones, like Jackie Wilson, the great Jackie Wilson. His favorite singer was Al Jolson, of all people. You know, the dude, the Jewish guy that wore blackface and tomorrow, Mammy, the jazz singer dude. He loved Al Jolson. That's Jackie Wilson, Mr. Excitement, right? So, and also with the woman, Mary Wilson, like, I'm going to read a couple of versions of what happened allegedly on October 18th, 1974. Then I'm going to give my take on it. But, you know, it's hard to trust everything you read because some sources say that she had 2 kids. Some sources say she had 3 kids. Other sources say she had 4 kids, but she'd been married twice. She had 2 kids by her first husband. There's a lot of things to this, but I think it's fascinating just to compare notes like the AP story or even what the New York Times said or what Jet Magazine wrote. And then just think for yourself. But like my Jegna used to tell me, Mr. Emerson Abel Jr., who was Isaac Hayes' Jegna, nobody dies a natural death in show business, not even the hanger-ons and the groupies. And all these people are fascinating. But Al Green, he answered the call. Jesus was calling him that night. And he became the Right Reverend Al Green not too long after that. So this October, this year will mark the 47th anniversary of the Hot Grits when Al Green became Al Grits. All right. Y'all like to call him Al Grits or whatever. But, you know. Yeah. So, yeah, that was me. I'm just playing around. I don't think it's a Mercury retrograde going on right now. But, you know, just let me know if y'all having issues seeing or hearing and whatever. And hopefully it resolve itself. Because life is performance art. But let me see. We all be news free Dixie for the 21st century. So let's move it. Let's keep it moving, people. Show this picture. Guess I'm making good timing. Let me just keep it 100. Let's keep it marching. That's that sister, Mary Wilson. I think she's a very pretty lady. You know, she's like one of them women, probably, if you met her in person, her magnetism is so damn strong because evidently she had people were just drawn to her. Like she just had a strong magnetism. I remember I met a woman one time. It wasn't that she was the prettiest thing, but it was something about she was giving the pheromones. I don't know what it was. She had some type of weird magnetism. But I told her, I said, when I first met you, I want to jump on you. I want to jump your bones, lady. I don't know what the hell you putting out there, what you got putting out there, but I just wanted to jump you and just ravish you. I told the lady that. I ain't know the lady like that. She said, "Oh, really?" I said, "Oh, yeah." I don't know what the hell you putting out there, but I think she's like one of those people that she had that type of magnetism. Like, yeah, this picture is cool. Cause I seen people, you know, how y'all seen people, you know, maybe y'all got dating and you look at their picture. And because people use all these filters and stuff, they don't look like themselves, or they look like who they really look like. They actually are looking like themselves, but they don't look like the person in their picture or whatever. Like, I don't think pictures did her justice. I mean, she was pretty. You can tell she's pretty. She's got them high cheekbones. She's from North Carolina. She a red bone too. Oh, yeah. And she know how to cook, especially grits. But let me show another picture. She's a brick house. Mighty pretty, mighty sexy. I gotta show this other picture, and then we'll get into the stories. Now you see her in the middle between the 2 guys. She's sandwiched in the middle between the 2 guys, right? That's her family. That's her mom right there with the glasses on. Other end, that's her sister. She's dark, Sister Joe James. Cause like one thing I love about black women or about black people, we just got all type of different colors. It's like going to Baskin Robbins. We just all different flavors and hues. I love it. Ain't no woman like a black woman. I ain't gonna lie. All the hell I catch, I still prefer black women. All the hell I catch for black women. It's something about black women. Y'all got something that's amazing. But yeah. So she's a shapely woman. You know. Yeah. I can only imagine how she was in person because she was just 29 years old when she died. So she was just 29 when she died. Yeah, Callie's white law knows. Like my mom's name, Callie, like country names, right? Come on, Callie Mae, Her mom was Hattie Mae. You got the Mays in there, the MAEs. Like a lot of my they don't want to talk about the Mays. What's your middle name? May, MAE. But yeah, Callie is an old school, like old, way back in time name. But my mom's good people. I love my mom. But yeah, that sister's she's shapely. Yeah, I see what Al like. You know what I'm saying? I can see how people go crazy over, right? So let's talk about what happened October 18th, 1974. Let's get into that. You know, I think I heard so many different versions of the story. And actually, I got several versions of that story. And we're going to just go through it. And then I'll offer my insights. And it's like me and Judge, one of our favorite movies is like L.A. Confidential, right? Y'all are familiar with L.A. Y'all should check L.A. Confidential out. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. I love that movie because it show you how corrupt everything is and about fixing. The fix is always in. You know how Donald Trump said, the game is rigged. The game is always rigged. And y'all got to take advantage of this internet. Now, this is an article actually from Jet Magazine. I hope y'all can hear me. You know, and Jet Magazine got their entire archive online through Google Books. I think they still have it because I know they put their whole archives out there several years ago. So it's amazing to go through Jet Magazine from back in the day and look at how people was thinking about stuff. For example, I saw the issue after Kennedy got killed, JFK, John F. Kennedy, the president, after he got murdered in Dallas. Their next issue was about, should we suspend the civil rights movement because the president was killed? I'm serious. You actually had people debating if black folks should suspend the civil rights movement because President Kennedy got killed. I mean, black folks are strange. That's why we can't get nowhere. I'm gonna leave that, but that's something I just want you to think about. Then they talked about black folks dating outside the race. You go to the Jet magazines back in the 1950s, they was talking about swirling back then. They were promoting swirling. Or they was giving you stories about people who swirl. Even black people marrying with Asian people. I mean, there's like all types of interesting stuff in these Jet magazines. It's amazing, man. It's like it's a time capsule for how people view themselves, black people view themselves, and how we view ourselves in relationship with the greater world. So, I mean, yeah. So this Jet magazine article, I think is very fascinating. I'm gonna go through this Jet magazine article and read a little bit and take a look. It's all online. The inside story of fatal shooting in Al Green's home. Now, Al Green had a palatial home, right? His home, 21-room mansion. I think it had 8 bathrooms or bedrooms or something like that. But we'll talk about that. I don't want to confuse myself with y'all. The inside story of fatal shooting in Al Green's home. We're going to read that together. Or I'll read it to y'all and we'll talk about it. I think y'all still hear me. Okay, get the Memphis World newspaper online. Through the Rhodes. Okay, Rhodes College is interesting. Okay, I'm about to check that out. Oh, Sister Angel, you love me? Are you in Memphis? I hope so. Or are you nearby? Cause I'm be doing some traveling for my birthday weekend. I'm actually be going around. I have some interesting stories for y'all to tell. And thank y'all for who be sending in donations because that money is being put to good use. I ain't gonna be able to buy no $1 million home like Black Lesbian Mania, but I am putting into good use. I'm gonna give y'all some stories from the road. I'm gonna take a Black History trip, but let me know. I'm be traveling to all parts, for a week, and might be doing some extensive traveling this summer to cover some stories that y'all need to hear about. It's so many stories that we don't know, man. It's some crazy stories. Like these ancestors be speaking to me, man. They be coming to me in the middle of the night. Brother Ron, tell our stories. You tell our stories, we'll take care of you. I said, okay, let me tell these stories. I think Mary Wilson want me to tell her story. That's why I got it on. Why do fools fall in love? Why do fools fall in love? Why do fools? Why do they fall in love? Frankie Lyman, rest in peace. But anyway, the inside story of fatal shooting in Al Green's home by George F. Brown. Al Green was looking forward to a date with the Memphis Police Department where he was going to be honored on Al Green Day for his fundraising activities last week. But Mary Wilson had a date with death, and it took place at Green's palatial home near Memphis early on the morning of October 18th. Green's day of honor in his hometown was not to be. Miss Wilson, mother of 3 children in Madison, New Jersey, fatally shot herself with a 38 caliber revolver in a bedroom of Green's home after she had poured boiling grits on the singer's back, arms, and stomach as he was preparing to take a bath around 1:15 a.m., inflicting second-degree burns. Green's burns were so serious that he underwent major surgery for skin grafts last week at Baptist Hospital in Memphis. Mrs. Wilson, let's she go right there. She's a beautiful woman. Jesus, that's sad. Tragedy. So pretty, but it's so, no, whatever. Mrs. Wilson, 29, left a note saying, all I wanted to do was to be with you and love you until I die. I love you, Al. I'm not mad, just unhappy because I can't be with you. Mrs. Wilson had mailed another note to Green's office, but it arrived after her death, according to Sue Frank, a secretary at Green Enterprises in Memphis. Ironically, the note was postmarked October 18th, y'all. You see how it works? Universe. So, God is nothing to play with. Shelby County Medical Examiner Dr. James Bell has ruled Mrs. You got Al Green home right there. That's a big house, 21 rooms, right? Has ruled Mrs. Wilson's death a suicide. I'm gonna read this caption underneath this picture of his house. That's a big house. Site of scalding and alleged suicide is Green's 21-room home in Shelby Forest State Park, a Memphis suburb. Home is isolated on Green's 60 acres of land. So, man, the man living large and in charge. So her death was ruled a suicide. Her husband, Raymond Wilson, of Parsippany, New Jersey, granted officials permission to perform an autopsy on the body, and then it was shipped to the Rowe Funeral Home in Madison for services. Mrs. Wilson is survived by 3 children. Now, in this article, it says 3. I read other articles said 4. Barry Rogers, 11. Arnold, Rogers, 10. Both born of a previous marriage, and Danielle Wilson, 4. Her mother, Mrs. Irene Evans, and a brother, George Evans, who said the dead woman's husband is a scientist. Al Green, 28, was rushed to Baptist Hospital in Memphis by ambulance for treatment of the burns. He expects to start fulfilling his entertainment dates around the 1st of November, according to his spokesman and public relations director, David Guest. Y'all know who David Guest is, right? Michael Jackson's best friend, was married to Liza Minnelli, the daughter of Judy Garland. I think that's the same David Guest. He's dead now. Green had scheduled a concert October 18th to raise funds for the Memphis Police Neighborhood Service Centers, the Memphis chapters of the National Epilepsy Foundation, and the Regional Sickle Cell Anemia Council. He said he will play that date on November 13th. After the shooting, Green told police that Mrs. Wilson asked him to marry her, and he turned her down. Then the nightmare for Al Green began. First, hasty reports of the tragedy in Green's home were garbled, and the rumor factory worked overtime, concocting stories of a love nest, the possibility of murder, and the eternal triangle, because another woman, Carlotta Williams, 21, of Denver, Colorado, was present, all discounted by police. Mrs. Williams was questioned by police about the shooting and then released. She is only a friend of Green's, according to Mrs. Williams, according to Guest. Mrs. Williams could not be reached for a statement, and no one knows where she is, said Guest. Is it Jess or Guest? No. Based on official reports, Jet has reconstructed the events of the early morning of the tragic affair. Mrs. Wilson, who had met Green in New York several months ago, had been in Memphis for about 8 days. Mrs. Wilson joined Green and Mrs. Williams at a Memphis recording studio late on the night of October 17th. Green said he invited Mrs. Wilson to stay at his secluded home near Meeman Shelby Forest State Park. Green and the 2 women arrived at the singer's home 30 miles from downtown Memphis, surrounded by an electrically charged fence shortly after midnight. Green generally has a housekeeper and yard man to look after his home when he is traveling. Sound like some Get Out stuff. Get Out the movie. Neither of his employees was on the property at the time of the shooting. Green said recently that when he comes off the road, he needs a place for complete peace and quiet. There are not even any neighbors close by his home. According to reports, Mrs. Williams went upstairs while Green and Mrs. Woodson talked on the first floor of the house. Green said he had met Mrs. Woodson several months in New York and had been dating her. At his home on the night of the shooting, Green told police Mrs. Woodson had asked him to marry her. He said he turned her down. He then went upstairs to take a bath, he said. Mrs. Woodson appeared in the doorway about 1:15 a.m., holding a pot of boiling grits and threw the grits on Green. The singer said he ran through an adjoining bedroom to another upstairs bathroom where he found Mrs. Williams. She grabbed a towel and attempted to wipe the scalding grits off Green as he stepped in the shower to wash the food off his body. Green said at that point he and Mrs. Williams heard two gunshots that sounded like they were fired from the bedroom at the southwest corner of the upper level. The home has 8 bedrooms. Oh, that's a lot of bedrooms. Fearing that Mrs. Woodson was after them, Green and Mrs. Williams dashed into Mrs. Williams' bedroom and barricaded the door with furniture, he said. Singer said he and Mrs. Williams waited in the bedroom for about half hour or 45 minutes, and he took 2 nerve pills to calm himself. After Green opened the door, he retraced his steps toward the bathroom where the grits had been thrown, he said, and stopped on the way to pick up a .38 caliber revolver that was lying on a heart-shaped bed near the bathroom. He and Mrs. Williams looked down the hallway and saw Mrs. Woodson on the floor. The body was lying on its side with a gun nearby. It was a .38 caliber revolver. Both guns belonged to Green. According to the report, Mrs. Williams warned Green that Mrs. Woodson might be playing possum. Okay. Green felt Mrs. Woodson's pulse and found no sign of life. There was no explanation about the presence of the 2 guns in Green's house. Police Lieutenant Ben Whitney, a personal friend of Green, said he was called and went to the singer's home. Whitney said he learned that the sheriff's office had not been notified of the shooting. Whitney said he called the sheriff's office and the officers arrived to handle the case. Inspector Dan Jones and Captain William Molly said investigation of Mrs. Woodson's background revealed that she had been under psychiatric treatment recently, and she was reported to have had suicidal tendencies. At the time of her death, Mrs. Woodson was not estranged from her husband, Evans told Jet. I am deeply hurt because of Mary Woodson's disastrous action, Green said. Not because of what she did to me, but because of the taking of her own life. I pray that God will forgive her, and I find it difficult to sleep nights, and I try to remove this tragedy from my mind because it was like a nightmare. No charges were brought against Green. Ironically, Mary Woodson had been arrested 4 days before her death on a charge of possession of marijuana, and she was scheduled to appear in court to answer the charge on the afternoon of the day she took her life. When the news of Green's ordeal sped about the country, his fans sent him an avalanche of good wishes for a speedy recovery. Guests told Jet that Green's office has so far received between 50,000 and 70,000 letters, cards, and telegrams wishing him well. Now, y'all listen to this. Some time ago, a group of 208 girls in Orange Mound, Tennessee, that's in Memphis, signed a petition urging Green not to get married. The petition read, "Please, Al, don't get married." Responding Green, "Don't worry, girls. I'm not anywhere near getting married. Love and happiness." It is for this reason that many of Green's fans have asked, why did Mrs. Mary Woodson, a married woman with 3 children, believe that Green would marry her after he told the world he had no plans to marry anyone? Okay, here we get to this astrology stuff or zodiac stuff. Okay, Starscope Watchers said that if Green had heeded his horoscope, he might have avoided the tragic events. Green was born April 13th, 1946, and his sign of the zodiac is Aries. Element is fire, symbol is the ram, stone is diamond. Famed astrologer Sidney Omar wrote about Green's sign of the ram. It is well that you are alert during this cycle, for there will be chicanery, perhaps outright thievery in your area. Your wide open eyes and swift speech can regain for you what someone is trying to make off with by subterfuge. It is a time when consideration of details, adding two and two, and other such mental attitudes will be of much value. Let no one make you look ridiculous. Your romantic life may not be what it seems. You must avoid falling for superficial appearances, sweet talk, and impressive manner. Stay at home rather than go out with a person who is an artist and fooling others. Do not be accessible to flattery. Wow. Okay. So there y'all go. I hope. Yeah, Jesus is calling. He was calling Al Green. Thank y'all for blessing. I appreciate it. All the love coming through. But y'all think he shot her? But I'll tell you one thing. I was noticing that Al Green had a very good relationship with the police. That comes in handy when you know that comes in handy. I think Bill Cosby should learn from he should have learned from Al Green. You got to be close to the popo. You raise money for their organization. He had called his friend. He had his friend on speed dial, and his friend called the sheriff department. Al Green, I heard in some stories, it took him 2 hours to contact the authorities about what happened in his home. There are other versions of the story that said he had bodyguards on the grounds, like in the Jet magazine. They said that his yard man and housekeeper were gone, right? But I read other stories, and I'll read some of them tonight. And they say he had security on the premises. He had armed guards on the premises because they say they found 3 shots. They found the one that was inside the woman. Then they found the one that was in the wall. Then they found another gunshot somewhere, shot in the home. They said Al Green claimed that he was cleaning one of his guns out, and he actually, shot it. He didn't have the safety on. And I heard that, they tested his hand for gunpowder. They didn't find anything. But I'm saying Al Green was smart. That he had a great relationship with the Memphis police. And Memphis police, man, I'm telling you something. Memphis police is something else, man. Y'all, back in those times, you got to think about this. What, 74? That's 6 years removed from Dr. King assassination. Now, if you read Dr. William Pepper's The Plot to Kill King, he claims the guy who shot King was a Memphis police officer who I believe when this book came out was still alive in the Memphis area. That what William Pepper claimed was the Memphis police that shot Dr. King officer. So it's interesting. I don't know. I wasn't there. I heard things from musicians that know about these, because there's so many stories. It's like Memphis Confidential, because there's a story about, I don't know if y'all know who Al Jackson Jr. was, but he was part of the Booker T and the MGs, a great instrumentalist group from Stax. He was the drummer for them. He died a crazy death. They shot like it was a home invasion, but his wife, they didn't shoot his wife. They shot him. Whoever shot him. And I think before that, he had an incident where he got into a domestic situation with his wife, and his wife shot him, I believe. And then I don't believe he wanted to press charges, but his wife, because from my understanding, he was going to leave his wife. But somehow they had a home invasion. He got shot point blank. And the dude that allegedly shot Al Jackson Jr. was the boyfriend at one point of blues great and soul great Denise LaSalle. And actually, this dude who was a suspect in the shooting and killing of Al Jackson Jr., he got into a shootout with the FBI up in the Pacific Northwest. I believe was in Seattle. I'm not going to look this up. Y'all can look this stuff up, but Memphis got these stories of people getting knocked out, especially folks in the music industry, under questionable circumstances. And really, the cases are solved unofficially. Officially, they're not solved, but if you are a musician back then, you talk to police officers, they tell you, hey, look, this is what happened, but we're not going to solve the case. We're going to keep it open. So unofficially, it's interesting. I believe that Al Jackson's widow still lives in their home, or she was. I don't know if she's still alive. But when I talk to some people who in the know, they said that his family don't trust her at all because Al Jackson had a couple of investments when he died. I think he was investing in oil and other things, and I believe his kids or children, whatever, didn't get what they thought they were gonna get after he passed because he's still married to the woman. So I don't know, man. It's a lot of these stories. Excuse me. But it's a lot of these stories like that. That's why I talk about these things. Like even when I talk about Johnny Ace, like I tell y'all, a lot y'all never heard of Johnny Ace till y'all start watching and listening to We All Be. You know, Johnny Ace, he shot himself during Christmas night doing a concert down in Houston in the City Auditorium. This back in December 25th, Christmas night, 1954. Now, people claim that they believe that Big Mama Thornton had something to do with that his label mate on Duke Records. You know, Big Mama Thornton was the one you be saying you ain't nothing but a hound dog. Because allegedly, when he was pointing his gun at people, like he liked to point his gun at people and pull the trigger. And like you try, you know, and people like, why you pointing them guns at us? You know, he said, well, it's empty. He turned that night to point the gun himself and he blew his brains or he shot himself in the head and he died. He was 25 years old. But that's the grandfather of Legacy. You know, the soul singer today. That's her grandfather. She was a product of a side chick, his mistress. You know, he was married, but he had women, you know, because he's Johnny Ace. So one of his girlfriends is, you know, what is the grandmother Legacy. Yeah, I got it right. But anyway, cause her father was a well-known R&B singer down from New Orleans, but he's supposed to be the son of Johnny Ace. So a lot of people thought that Big Mama Thornton might have something to do with that because I think they said she took the gun from him and gave it back to him. I don't know, man. Hell, Johnny Ace's brother told me he believed Bobby Blue Bland did that shit. I don't know. I tried to interview Bobby Blue Bland. He said he'll talk to me, but his wife was blocking me at the end. He ended up dying the next year after I met him. He was a cool guy, but anyway. Yeah, he had 238s right there, right? I don't know what to believe, but I heard people, but you know, it was smart for Al Green to have that type of cozy relationship with the law enforcement, though. Like, you know, he was raising money for their causes, and his friend, no, he knew where he was. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't know, I wasn't there, but she's passed on now, and then she wasn't who she said she was. Because I read what Al Green was sending flowers to her home in New Jersey. He didn't know she was married till she died. Cause like what happened with her was she was smoking weed at the Peabody Hotel. If you from Memphis or you know anything about the Peabody Hotel, that's a luxury hotel, right? You know, all the VIP people when they come to Memphis, a lot of times they'll stay at the Peabody Hotel. It's like one of them luxurious hotels. So they caught her smoking weed at the hotel, and so they sent her to jail, and he bailed her out. And his airline stewardess friend Carlotta Williams surprised him by coming through Memphis. So Al was known for being freaky back in the day. You know, I ain't gonna, you know, I heard stories, but Jesus was calling and he answered the call. Cause also Al Green fell off a stage one time too. Almost died. And so he said, God, I fell into God's arms, whatever. So he changed his ways as far as I know. But I you know, I heard stories, whatnot. But yeah, he lived out in the boonies, man. He probably still live out there. I don't know. But like I said, Al is very guarded, you know, because first, like I told you, when I first met him at the Exxon, I mean, he was out in the public, but like I said, he had that goon as a deacon, posing as a deacon, his bodyguard enforcer blocking people from getting next to Al just for a selfie. So it was crazy. So anyway, life is interesting. Let's see what else. I'm gonna read some more stuff to show a picture of her and Al. Love and unhappiness. Hey. I guess everything. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me or can't hear me or something going goofy on. Yeah, the great Tyrone Davis, man. You know your stuff. Man, that music was amazing back then. That's why Earth, Wind, and Fire and the Isley Brothers, man, that's an amazing era of music, man. They really did a thing with this rap thing. And I'm a fan of rap, but they really did a number. They did a psyop on us with this rap hip hop stuff. Let me see. I'm gonna read some other Here's another version. A place called Lipstick Alley. Yeah, like it's funny these places. Sometimes you should check out Lipstick Alley. They have always these alternative perspectives on what the official story is. They're very unique, and take things with a grain of salt. You don't know what's what. I wasn't there that night, but you kind of get a clearer picture when you start reading these different versions and comparing notes. And you say, okay, I'm seeing the pattern here. But let me read another version. On the night of 18th October of 74. On the night of October 18th, 1974, Green and Mitchell, that's Willie Mitchell, his producer, were working on a new song together at Royal Studios. Royal Studios recorded Bruno Mars, the Uptown Funk, whatever they do 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 do. They recorded there. Also a lot of Al Green hits and Miss Peoples, I can't stand the rain. It's my, all this stuff was recorded at Royal Studios, still exists. Okay. So they were working on a song together at Royal Studios. Al brought two girls along, Mary Woodson and Carlotta Williams, a Delta Airlines stewardess. Green had been seeing Mary on and off for almost a year, but Willie had never met her before. He remembers her because she was drunk or something and fell across the mixing desk, upsetting his levels. At the end of the session, Al took both women home with him. There is confusion about what happened next. Police reports record contradictory statements and apparently strange time lapses. But in his book, Green says that back at the house, Mary raised the subject of marriage and he did not want to talk about it. When he retired to the bathroom to get ready for bed, she appeared in the doorway with a boiling pan of grits and hurled them at him. On his neck and back and arms, Green sustained second-degree burns. Mary ran to a nearby bedroom and there apparently shot herself in the head with Al's .38 caliber revolver. Later that night, Willie Mitchell found Green in the emergency room, singing and praying. Willie asked his friend twice if he had murdered the woman. Twice he said no. Carlotta Williams and FBI powder tests on his hands confirmed his story. Subsequently, Memphis police discovered that Mary Woodson was married with 4 children. Now it says 4 children, and a husband back in New Jersey, and had a history of psychiatric problems. She left behind 2 separate suicide notes. I love you, Al, she wrote in one. I'm not mad, just unhappy because I can't be with you. Okay. It seemed unreal, Green tells me. I never knew she was married. I was blinded by the fact that she was just beautiful, simply beautiful. I said that part. I ad-libbed it. It was just so unbelievable. I was angry though, because I felt that Mary took the easy way out. Today, he's fond of telling people that he still loves Mary and that long before she killed herself, she told him that one day he will become a great preacher. The song Al Green and Willie Mitchell were working on in the studio that night was one of his sweetest recordings. Strong as death, sweet as love. Wow. So I'm going to read this AP story that came out October 21st, 1974. Woman who scalded singer is ruled victim of suicide. A medical examiner says that an autopsy confirms that a spurned woman died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound after she scalded Al Green, the pop singer with hot grits. Mr. Green was reported in good condition at a hospital yesterday, but a spokesman for him said he was in a great amount of pain. He suffered second-degree burns on his back and arm when Mary Woodson, 29 years old, of Madison, New Jersey, threw hot grits on him as he took a bath Friday, according to the sheriff's office. Yesterday, the county medical examiner, Dr. James Bell, said that the autopsy had showed that the woman's death was a suicide. A suicide note was found in her purse. Okay, so I just read you several different versions, right? Those are 2 different versions or whatever. So I don't know, man. It's like you gotta look at this stuff. Thank you. I appreciate it. You gotta look at this stuff and decide for yourself. This is all about, the Black Panther Party always talk about heightening the contradictions. So they said this thing and this thing. Like now they trying to paint a picture. Like if we're gonna say she committed suicide, let's say she crazy too. Let's go with the crazy angle. It's not just them saying it. It's actually family members saying that she had psychiatric issues as well. And you know she could cook, but I bet the grits was seasoned and all that because you know she's from North Carolina originally. I know she could throw down. But I just said, man, that's a sad. You look at that woman, you can't tell sometimes, like especially in today's world, they didn't have social media back then. But you look at how people are so triggered by certain things on social media, how people are triggered by certain words and images and whatnot. We are all potential MK Ultra assassins. Let me repeat that. We are all potential MK Ultra assassins. Like today, she'll probably be an MK Ultra sex kitten. She probably could be a rapper today. You know, Brick House Red or something. You know, Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B. Brick House Red. She's a brick house. Okay, I'm gonna stop now. Let me read something else. This is fascinating, man. You start comparing notes and stuff like that. Show this other picture. Come on, we are family. Ain't nothing like family like kin folks that sell you out, boy. Ain't nothing like kin folks that sell you. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna show. Oh man, I think everybody's crazy. I think crazy is like autism. It's on the spectrum. Just deal with the crazy you could deal with, especially you dealing with women. Y'all some unique creatures. Just deal with the crazy that you could deal with. That's about it. It's like autism. It's just like it's on the spectrum. So he was smart. He had a relationship with law enforcement, and that helps. See, Bill Cosby could have took notes from Al Green. You need to have a relationship with the law enforcement people. You know what I'm saying? So you could, help things set up. Because I read one article or perspective that said it took him 2 hours to contact the actual authorities. Now he had that guy he contacted that was a police officer, but they didn't actually contact the authorities until like 2 hours later. So fixing, like, it's a good show. I wish they would have had one more season. Y'all know that show on Showtime with Lee Schreiber. That's his name, the Jewish guy. He played Irish fix man, Ray Donovan. That show is based on reality. He was a fixer. See, people like Al Green. I'm not saying, those celebrity types, they do help people like that. It's like when you have them weird deaths in Hollywood back in the golden era, like Gene Harlow or somebody like that died. Before they call the authorities, they'll call the studio people. They'll call the people connected to the studios. They'll come to the scene. They'll clean things up. They'll rearrange things, and then they call the authorities. So you had the type of handlers back in the day. Al might have had a fixer, like a Ray Donovan, to help him out. So I'm not saying I don't know if he actually killed her though. Just because she used his gun don't mean he the one that pulled the trigger. Cause she was kind of off. And I'm gonna say why, because her family confirmed that she was a little bit mental. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong that Al didn't have something because he didn't know that she was married. Imagine if you were married to her and Al Green is sending all these flowers to your wife. And you try to say, oh, that's like, you gotta be the biggest simp. You know what I'm saying? Because you got Al Green sending flowers to your home, to your wife. And then Al Green said, I didn't know she was married. He met her while he was doing a charity event at a prison in New York. He met her, he was singing at a prison. He met this girl at the prison, right? And he was so like awestruck by her. Like I said, she's like one of them people. Her pictures, she's not ugly, she's beautiful. But I bet if you see her, if you witness her in person, she probably had this type of weird magnetism. Like she had this pheromone thing. Like I said, I met a woman that she was like, she was not drop dead gorgeous, but she had I said, lady, I want to jump your bones. I don't know you. I know this sounds disrespectful, but I want to just devour you. I didn't know the lady. She started laughing. I was like, I didn't know. That's probably like some Me Too stuff, but I'm saying you meet people like that, men and women, they got that type of they got that type of magnetism thing going on. And she probably like one of them people. Yeah, Al Green, I love Al, man. Like I said, Al Green, I don't know if they did a versus with Al Green. I don't know who could go up against Al Green. Y'all know anybody that can face Al Green in the verses? And don't get Steve Harvey, please, for the love of God. Do not have Cedric the Entertainer or somebody to host that month. Oh yeah, man, he baby making extraordinaire. Oh yeah, Al Green was, like people don't understand. We can't appreciate how big Al Green was back in the 70s. He was on Soul Train. Al Green was a sex symbol. I mean, Al Green. People can't appreciate like how big he was. This is before social media and stuff like that. So he really had to earn it. You know what I'm saying? That song and that music was different back then. It hits different. I mean, R&B is not like it was back in the day. And that's by design. It's not necessarily the artist's fault. It's the industry. They know, like Clive Davis helped change that game. Yeah, she was. I could, like I said, she had a lot of other entertainers digging her, like James Brown. So they was hooked on her. Al ain't worried about no Judge Joe Brown. He probably Al, it's hard to get to Al. Like I said, I had an issue. Yeah, I mean it's definitely a ode to that Memphis soul tradition, the funk and all, the barcades. Because I mean, it was produced in Memphis and made in Memphis. Memphis got a unique flavor about it. With the music and stuff like that. Cause he had some Memphis musicians play at Motown. They were part of the Funk Brothers. Like this guy named, I think, Tony Pistol Allen. He went to Manassas High School where Jimmy Lunsford started back in the 20s. He started music education back in the 20s in Manassas. Tony Allen went there. Tony Pistol Allen, a drummer on some of the greatest Motown hits. He's a member of the Funk Brothers. Look at that documentary In the Shadows of Motown that came out like several years ago. They talk about the Funk Brothers. You got James Jamerson from South Carolina, from the Allen, the Gullah Geechee culture, arguably the greatest bass player in history of music, James Jamerson. All them hits he was on. But anyway, it's not I want to talk about, but I like Lionel Richie too. I thought John Legend would be the next Lionel Richie, but I was wrong. but let me I'm sorry. John Legend had so much promise. But anyway, let's see. We are family. I just want to show again with her family. And that brown skinned sister next to her mom, that's her sister, Joe James. So there's something about Mary. She's very shapely, I mean about 5'4". She was real brick house. Carolina brick house. But let me read some other things to put that in perspective, like while I'm talking about the family. Let me see if I can find that. But y'all, let's read some of the stuff. This stuff is, if you're into this type of stuff, it's interesting to read it. Let's see. I'm reading through some stuff. Okay, according to her running buddy and longtime friend Nora Drury, Woodson liked to use her sex appeal to attract famous musicians. Drury says, "We go into Newark to the Continental Ballroom whenever there were stars in town. We would make sure we were visible so the entertainers would notice us. People like James Brown. Drury wasn't as aggressive as her good friend Woodson. Sometimes she would duck me and go in or go on with the man." Drury laughs. This is her girlfriend telling on her. I said, okay. On the night of the attack, Wilson had shown up unexpectedly at Green's Memphis home after he returned from a concert appearance in San Francisco. What exactly prompted her to act is unclear, but her actions not only left Al Green with severe burns that would require a lot of hospitalization, they also left him severely shaken emotionally and spiritually. He likes to distance the facts of his religious conversion from the terrible events of that night, but I think the Woodson incident kind of crystallized his need to move on, to sort of shut down one part of his life and open up another. Jesus was calling. Now, she actually was brought to his home. Someone say you don't know what to trust. He actually brought her to his home along with his airline stewardess friend, Carlotta Williams. She rode in the same car with him. he actually bailed her out of jail for that marijuana incident at the Peabody Hotel. So, you know, like I said, you can't take everything as the gospel truth on this type of stuff. You can't take everything as the gospel truth. Let me see. I'm just going through the things I have pulled off. And read this from the I love oldschoolmusic.com. I'm reading from there. I'm just trying to, I mean, y'all get the idea, right? Y'all get the idea. Okay. Wilson was a beautiful woman, 5'4", shapely, and always dressed in the hottest threads. Her family and friends said she had the ability to walk into a room and wrap any man she wanted around her finger, but she had a bit of a rocky history with some of the men in her life. Okay, we're going to talk about this. It's her sister, Joe James, the one I got there on the screen at the end. She's going to say something. It's almost as if Wilson was partying hard to escape the pressures of being a young 20-something-year-old mother and wife. Like I said, I got to remind y'all, she was 29 years old when she died. That's young. To leave your kids behind. That's amazing. I mean, she took a life, allegedly. But Joe James is her sister now. She did that. This is her sister saying that. And that was her character. And they were the biggest, hottest pot of grits you ever seen. That's her sister saying this. Her sister saying this. Her sister Joe James. Yeah, I guess it's the colorism thing, ain't it? I'm joking. I don't know, man. You know how I got siblings. You know, siblings are interesting people. It was National Sibling Day not too long ago. Was that Saturday? But I'm saying everybody don't get along with their siblings, man. I know people personally that refuse to go to their siblings' funeral because it's like this stuff is just it's weird with siblings, man. So I don't know if she had an axe to grind about her sister, but she basically said she did that. That was her character, and they were the biggest, hottest pot of grits you ever seen. Now, they might be some, you know, let's see her history. Mary Wilson's history of relationship woes prior to the Al Green incident. Family members, these are family members saying this, said that before Wilson's second marriage, following an affair, she swallowed a handful of pills and had to have her stomach pumped. So, okay. In another relationship, Wilson was sitting in a car with her then boyfriend and questioned him about his infidelity. After he confessed, she shot him in the foot. This before Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez now. This is no social media back then. She shot him in the foot. They eventually got back together though. So she was about that crazy love. Like that Brian McKnight song. She give me love, 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 crazy love. Okay, I mean, I guess they would put up with it because she looks so good. According to the boombox.com, all of this happened before meeting Al Green at a prison when she was visiting a friend and he was doing charitable performance for the prisoners. He was instantly attracted to her and they started dating. Although Green says he loved her, he seemed to have wanted to take things a lot faster in their relationship than Al was ready for. On that tragic hot grits night, Al Green explained in his book that he was in a Memphis recording studio when he got the call from a sheriff who said Wilson was arrested at the Peabody Hotel for smoking marijuana. Green went to the police station and Wilson was released. The two returned to the studio where Green was able to calm Wilson down with his music. His friend, flight attendant Carlotta Williams, later showed up unannounced and greeted Green with a big hug. Green was originally concerned about Wilson's state of mind, but the two women seemed to get along, and they both returned to Green's home after the session. Green wrote that he made clear to the women that his home had many spare bedrooms, and he had not planned some kind of kinky encounter. Williams probably began to sense tension from Wilson, so she immediately retreated to the spare guest bedroom soon after they arrived. She said she had an early flight in the morning. Green found Wilson in the kitchen at the stove, stirring a simmering pot of water. Green was caught off guard when Wilson asked Al, honey, have you ever thought of getting married? Married? Green replied. Maybe we should talk about this in the morning, baby. I hear the classic reply. They kissed and Wilson whispered, you know, Al, I would never do anything to hurt you. Green was confused by her statement, but didn't suspect that anything was wrong. So he went upstairs to shower. Green stripped down to his underwear and was brushing his teeth when he sha la 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 la. No, that's what I just said. Heard a sound behind him. I looked up just in time to see Mary's reflection in the mirror. She had this steaming pot in both hands. In the next section, my word exploded into 1,000 splatters of pure agony. Mary had added grits to the water, making a thick boiling hot paste. With all her strength, she hurled it at me, splashing the bathroom walls and scorching my naked back. Pain was so intense that I wasn't sure what was happening for a moment. Green's screams alerted Williams, who opened her bedroom door. Green pushed past her and ran into her bathroom. Williams helped Green into the bathtub and turned on the cold water of the shower full strength. I screamed again, bent over, and started to black out when I suddenly heard, over the thundering spray of the shower, the sound of a long, loud bang. I looked at Carlotta, and she looked at me. It was as if we both knew that something terrible was unfolding around us, and all we could do was stand in horrible, helpless witness. And then another bang, and then a sickening, unmistakable sound of something heavy hitting the floor. Wilson had retreated to a bedroom after scalding Green. Grabbing Green's gun, she fired one shot into the wall before killing herself with the second bullet. A suicide note was found in her purse. They later found out that Mary Wilson had tried to kill herself just days before that night by slitting her wrist and taking a bunch of sleeping pills. Al Green had previously written the song Sha La 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 for Mary Wilson prior to the tragic incident. Green said he will forever love Mary Wilson and is forever grateful to her. He said she was the only person who predicted that he would eventually be singing for the Lord and have his own church 10 years prior to that even being a thought in his mind. He said he chuckled at her statement and jokingly told her she was crazy for thinking he would ever do that. Turns out that's exactly what he did, and he's still singing gospel and preaching his sermons to this day at his Full Gospel Tabernacle Church located in his hometown of Memphis. Okay, that's from iloveoldschoolmusic.com. So her family said she was crazy. I guess she was crazy. They know her best. Family knows you best, right? Yeah, I love Al Green. But I don't know. I mean, I read different version where they said like she'll have this faraway look in her face, stare out into the space, and like she hearing voices and stuff. Al Green had to know something was off about this girl, but it's like she was so attractive. I could only imagine how she was in person. Like she had that type of it. You don't care. Like y'all know what I'm talking about. It's like people talking about they use condoms, and you get a woman or anybody. You got this gorgeous specimen of a creature right there. You talking about I got condoms and your condom in the car. Yeah, you can go put your clothes back on, go to car. I'm just gonna take a chance. I'm gonna roll these dices. I'm gonna roll snake eyes, 7-Eleven, snake eyes. You just on you in the moment, you in the mood. Come on, man. Who turning something down? It's like it's weird to me. Like if I'm be honest, if I know all this stuff going on with diseases, but if a woman coming to you and she hot like that, she got that package. I don't care what package she got. Somebody's touching that package. Somebody gonna brave it. They're gonna touch that stove. If it's hot, I'm gonna get burned, but I'm gonna enjoy getting burned. You understand? So it's just human nature. He probably saw the signs. He just whatever. Sha la 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 la. Sha la 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 la. I mean, look, we gotta die one day. My thing is I'm gonna go out the same way I came in or came out. You know what I'm saying? That's the best way to die for me. That's like, wow, dude died going in and coming out. He came and went at the same time. Coming and going at the same time. Blessing from the universal God, So I hope she's at peace wherever she's at, her spirit. But you just can't, like that song with BBD, whatever, Bell Bill DeVoe, that would trust a big butt and a smile. Who cares? It ain't about trusting that. My thing about people, I get older, people say I don't trust people. I trust people to be people, and just leave it at that. You know, if you want to play, you're gonna get burned. It is what it is. You touch your hand on the stove, you get burned. But no, let it burn. You know, and you know that Usher song, that's what it's made for. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's made for. I mean, y'all scared to get hurt. Life is all about getting hurt. But like what the dude said, we fall down and we get up. Get back up again. Shit. Okay, let's move on from that to a certain degree. I'll give y'all a little bonus. I appreciate it. We love you madly. Yeah, but everybody bipolar. Who say you supposed to be happy 24 hours a day? That's why weird. Why do people want to be happy all the time? That's not normal to me. You want to have your ups and downs, your ebbs and flows. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell people, like what Dr. King said, human salvation lies in the hands of the creatively maladjusted. I don't think I'm normal, and I'm dysfunctional though. I'm functional. I'm able to function in my abnormalities. I'm able to function. I can still be productive. Like, you know, like you think like some people could be a functional alcoholic. You know, like Dick Van Dyke, the great Dick Van Dyke, right? The actor, comedic actor. On his show, he was getting drunk all the time. He was drinking every day. But yeah, he was able to function. It's like with Baba Dick Gregory. Y'all forget Baba Dick Gregory used to be 350 pounds. He used to smoke 4 packs of cigarettes a day. Drink a fifth of gin, whatever he was drinking. This motherfucker he wasn't going to live that long. I remember I talked to Reverend C.T. Vivian. I said, so when was your first time meeting Dick Gregory? I remember it was big. Dick was big. He was a big dick. But he rested in peace. But I'm saying Dick Gregory used to be 350 pounds. Y'all don't know that, huh? And one day he started fasting because the protest of the Vietnam War. And he started losing a lot of weight. He got down to 90 pounds at one point. Because I don't understand about Dick Gregory. He was not just fasting. Sometimes he would starve himself to death. He was starving himself sometimes. And like his son, Dr. Christian Gregory, talk about how he was having these mini strokes. He had mini strokes that messed with his circulation. So Dick Gregory was actually not just fasting, he was starving. He was doing things like he was committing a slow form of what I call revolutionary suicide, what Huey P. Newton would call revolutionary suicide. But he committed himself, and because of his diet and some of the things he was doing, he was able to live a little bit longer. But Dick, 84 is still 84. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still old, you know, and he was traveling around the country nonstop. Like, he'll fly from coast to coast, you know, and not be able to get the proper rest. Sometimes he'll just go straight to the venue from the airport. Now, that's hard for anybody at any age, let alone at 84, to put all that strain on your body going to different environments and stuff. Just, it is what it is. But yeah, Dick went through a lot of extremes, man. Well, I said that needs to be like a docu-series or like a limited series to talk about this man's amazing life. Now the transformations he did, you know, over his life. Like, this dude was able to detox John Lennon and Yoko Ono. He got him off of drugs for good. He helped train Muhammad Ali and what's a guy named Riddick Bowe. I mean, Dick Gregory did a lot of different things in his life. It's amazing. Yeah, but we'd never know. Al, I wonder if Carletta Williams is still alive. I would love to get her side of the story, but she probably loyal to Al Green. But Al is like I said, I'm not trying to bash Al Green, but I think that's an interesting story that a lot of people don't even know about. Because a lot of folks didn't even know that she was dead, but the lady killed herself allegedly, or who the lady name was. I'm just trying to give her name, and she deserves to be remembered because I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna check the gospel court. Is that on Amazon Prime? I think I saw it on Amazon Prime, or maybe I could just get it on YouTube. I'm gonna put it back up. Okay, but let me move on to something else. This is another person that I think should get some credit, and it's like a bonus, I guess. If I find it, maybe I could just shut it down now. Got a lot of windows open. I used to be a freelancer for the Memphis Tri-State Defender. Almost a little bit, what around like 2007. Let's see. And I just want to talk about this brother right here. He's got a connection to Jimi Hendrix and Al Green. Got an amazing connection to him. He passed away back in 2007. Long battle with stomach cancer. He died from stomach cancer. His name was Larry Lee. And y'all probably never heard of Larry Lee, but Larry Lee was like the longtime band director of Al Green, and also he was arguably Jimi Hendrix's best friend. They met in Nashville when he was going to TSU on a baseball scholarship, and Jimi Hendrix was a part of the 101st Airborne, the Screaming Eagles, stationed up in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. So they finally hooked up and started playing gigs and stuff together. And I want to just pay tribute to him because I wrote an article to honor him, sort of like an obituary to honor his legacy, his amazing legacy. So I just want to read my article that I wrote for the Memphis Tri-State Defender. And then also we could hear from his widow. She'll talk about his relationship with Jimi Hendrix and also about his relationship with Al Green. So let's get into it. Let me find that. The unsung genius of a Memphis guitar legend. The unsung genius of a Memphis guitar legend. Memphis guitar legend Larry Lee was the link between Jimi Hendrix and Al Green. Underappreciated genius traveled the streets of Memphis in the form of Lawrence Harold Larry Lee Jr. Some say he had the raw talent of a star, but chose to remain in the background with his rhythm guitar. To say that Lee was the link between music icons Jimi Hendrix and Al Green is simply telling the truth about one of the many greats unknowns who have called Memphis home. Lee, 64, knew he had stomach cancer, and he died on October 29th after a long bout with it. Larry should have a brass note on Bill Street, said Memphis businessman Mabra Holyfield, who once played trumpet alongside Lee. He was not a person who sought recognition. He helped other musicians. He was a very giving person. He was always content to stay in the background, but everybody knew he was a great musician. He does deserve a lot more than he has received. Reverend Ronnie Williams, one of Lee's thick and thin friends, is convinced that now is the right time for Lee to start getting his recognition. The real greatness of a man starts coming the day when he passes, said Williams. Larry's greatness is now blooming. In the beginning, Lee started as an ambitious and talented songwriter at Stax when he was just a teen, attending Hamilton High School in South Memphis. What Can It Be? And A Woman Needs the Love of Man are among the hit songs he penned for Stax's popular vocal group, the Astors. Tennessee State University in Nashville beckoned when Lee decided to continue his education in his senior year. Lee walked away from TSU to find his musical voice in the club venues and chitlin circuit of Nashville. He formed a band that eventually drew the interest of an eccentric, skinny Seattle, Washington kid who joined the band as the second guitar. The kid was Hendrix, a recently discharged member of the legendary military parachute unit, the 101st Airborne, aka Screaming Eagles, stationed at Fort Campbell on the Tennessee-Kentucky border. Lee and Hendrix performed often at legendary Nashville venues such as the New Era Club together. When Aretha Franklin and other popular musical artists toured the Nashville area, Lee and Hendrix often performed backup. So, trying to find out some images of Jimi Hendrix and Larry Lee. See, this history right here. Memphis is a very powerful place, man. It's a very powerful place. The Memphis don't even know about. This is history that Memphis folks should know about, but we don't know about. That Jimi Hendrix's best friend from South Memphis. Oh man. Let me see. I got the right window open. Okay. That's Jimi Hendrix and Larry Lee at Woodstock. That picture is from Woodstock. So let me continue reading. The Woodstock experience. The bond between Hendrix and Lee proved strong enough to withstand the challenges of longevity. Several years beyond Nashville, Hendrix, who had formed his own band, asked Lee to join him in upstate New York for the Woodstock Music and Art Fair of 1969, a 4-day event that drew 450,000 people and became a cultural icon. Lee had just returned from the Vietnam War 2 weeks earlier when his old Nashville music running buddy invited him to join his Gypsy Sun and Rainbows band. Hendrix's performance is now the stuff of legend, and Lee was on rhythm guitar. The band was short-lived. Lee did record and perform on a few memorable tracks, including singing leads on the soul ballad Mastermind, as well as the hypnotic and melodic Gypsy Woman, a song originally written for the Impressions and which Hendrix and Lee had learned to perform from the soul master Curtis Mayfield, who is my cousin, when Lee and Hendrix toured with the Impressions and the Marvelettes, Motown's first female group, in their Chitlin Circuit days. A friend's view. Mabra Holyfield went to Hamilton High School with Larry Lee. They met playing WDIA baseball. As WDIA was the first radio format for black people. It was the first radio formatted program station in the country that was catered towards black people. They premiered back in 1948 and they are still on the air. So Memphis is the birthplace of black radio as we know it. It birthed black radio, WDIA. So Lee played for the Elliston Heights. Holyfield played for the Castelia Heights. In addition to baseball, both loved music. Holyfield, who played trumpet, recorded several times at Stax as a studio session musician when he was 15 and 16. He continued his music interest playing in a Tennessee State University band. Lee, a gifted athlete as well as talented musician, played baseball at Tennessee State University. Larry was self-taught and very, very good musician, recalls Holyfield. Larry was the lead guitarist in a band that played in the clubs in Nashville in the early 60s. This band would go on the road on the weekends to places like Clarksville, Tennessee, Huntsville, Alabama, Paris, Tennessee, and other places. Jimmy would come down from Fort Campbell, Kentucky to play with the band from time to time. After the service, he joined the band. He played behind Larry. We call him Little Jimmy. Hendrix was a good musician, but Larry was the musician at the time, say Holyfield. Larry got drafted during the Vietnam War and left town. Jimmy decided he wanted to go to New York and be famous. That is what he told us. Jimmy obviously got to be very famous, say Holyfield. When Larry came out the service, Jimmy was very huge internationally. Larry teamed up with Jimmy at that point, toured with him, and he was at Woodstock with Jimmy. For some reason, Larry left the group at that point and came back home to Memphis. Shortly after that, Jimmy died. And his widow would talk about what she thought about Jimmy's death and what he thought about Jimmy's death, because Larry Lee was with Jimmy just several days before he died under questionable circumstances. So let me see. I'm just moving around, trying to keep it provocative. I think y'all can hear me. Got a captive audience. A little picture I did, a little illustration. Remind me of Chuck E. Cheese's right now. But that would be Larry Lee and Al Green and Jimi Hendrix. I'm going to put it there for comedic effect as I read. Let's see, get back to reading. I see it. Okay. The Al Green connection. Back in Memphis, Lee hooked up with Al Green, becoming Green's music director and personal guitarist at the Willie Mitchell-led High Records. The association will last for more than 30 years. Green covered one of Lee's original compositions, Judy. I love Judy. Judy, among others. With Green, Lee was able to perform all over the world and on television. including the Johnny Carson show. We lost a great soldier. Memphis music legend Hal Grimes said Lee kept a smile on him all the time. He was very business about his music, playing his guitar. He's one of the finest guitar players that I had ever worked with. I loved him as a friend as well as working with him on stage because he was like no other guitar player. And he had his own style. Now, Howard Grimes he's known as a Memphis Bulldog. Phenomenal drummer. He was the first drummer at Stax when it was known as Satellite Records. This man was like 12 years old. He was a professional musician at 12, playing at Stax. 12 years old, prodigy. And also his jegna was Mr. Emerson Abel Jr., who was also a teacher of Isaac Hayes as well. So he was amazing. And Howard Grimes is still going strong to this day. The Memphis Bulldog. Let me read that. Okay. He was very business about his music, playing his guitar. He was one of the finest guitar players that I had ever worked with. I loved him as a friend as well as working with him on stage because he was like no other guitar player. He had his own style. And also Howard Grimes was on the drums. I can't stand the rain. That People's come and People's. It's my win. I can't. That's him on the drums and all that stuff. It did a lot of hits for other people too, like Al Green, O.V. Wright, all them people. You a soul person. Y'all know about O.V. Wright, man. That man was phenomenal. Grimes recalled his last visit with Lee, who told him that he no longer had enough strength or life in his fingers to pull the strings of his guitar. We lost a great soldier, a great guitar player. I always like to remember someone by not looking at the life past, but at the life that was, said Grimes. And I will always remember him the way the rest of his colleagues, friends that he worked with will. It was always a joy and lots of fun. I know he's in the right place playing for the mastermind, the Angels. They could use him there because his work is done here, says Grimes. He was a great man, a great human being, a great musician, and that's the way I like to leave it. So this was a story I wrote about the late, great Larry Lee. And what I also want to add, I heard A.L.L owe a couple people money. Like I said, Larry Lee wrote that song Judy. Now I heard this story. I don't know that Larry Lee was not getting credit for the song. He was not getting his royalties or payment. And I think he was taking Al to court, and Al met him on the court steps with a bag of money, a decent amount of money. I'm thinking that's the story I heard. I don't quote me on this, but what I didn't talk about in that story, Jimi Hendrix was real close to Larry Lee. When Larry Lee got drafted to Vietnam, he gave Jimi Hendrix his winter coat. So when Jimmy was homeless, before he went to England before his big break, he was sleeping in the alleys and stuff of New York. The only thing that kept him warm was Larry Lee's winter coat. So that's how much he thought of Larry Lee. And when Larry Lee got back from Vietnam, I think Larry had a mental plate in his head. He almost got killed over there. But he also was exposed. He was a victim of what is now known as Agent Orange. So he got exposed to that stuff. Probably his stomach cancer came from being exposed to Agent Orange, because what people don't understand is like the soldiers over there were exposed to Agent Orange. They brought that back and they passed the genetic defects on to their family. So his descendants are dealing with the effects of Agent Orange. You understand what I'm saying? So the fact that he was able to survive and still be able to be functioning as a musician, that's incredible. But Jimmy, the only thing that kept him warm was his winter coat. So when he came back, hey man, it's Jimmy, man. You want to play Woodstock with me? He owed him that favor. He felt like he had a debt, And what I'm gonna do now? I'm gonna play Larry Lee's widow. I did an interview with her. I want to say back in 2012. This is not the complete interview I did with her. I need to upload the complete one day. But I just want to get an idea of his connection between Al Green and Jimi Hendrix, because he was there the days before Jimmy passed on, and I just let his wife speak for him and what he thought about what happened to Jimi Hendrix. So thank y'all for being patient, and trying to get it under 3 hours, but we'll see. Oh my God. But I think I'll go on hiatus till next week after these shows. These shows take a lot to do, man. It's like, I mean, I ain't complaining about it, but it's like I try to do the research, put all this stuff together. It's crazy. But like the ancestors or stars keep on speaking to me and say, "Ron, tell our stories, bro. I promise we take care of you. Tell our stories." So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna play Larry Lee's Widow. She's gonna be talking about it. It's interesting. I really enjoyed talking with her. Oh, brother, okay. You know Larry Lee, huh? Let's do something. Put it. Yeah, he need to be sprinkled about. I mean, we don't. It's so many great ones that don't get credit, man. Cause like it's so many people, man. Like I said with Isaac Hayes, like people don't understand what Isaac Hayes. Isaac Hayes was a music genius, but he had a lot of great people around him that helped him put his stuff together. Like, you know, he had people, like I told Mr. Emerson Abel Jr., who was his high school teacher at Manassas. He kicked Isaac Hayes out the band and ended up working for Isaac Hayes at Stax, helping him arrange his stuff and stuff like that. Because Isaac couldn't read music, but Isaac had a musicality that was amazing. He had perfect pitch. There's a lot of great musicians that don't have perfect pitch. Charlie Parker, from my understanding, according to Steve Coleman, he didn't have perfect pitch. And that's Charlie Parker. But I'm saying with Isaac Hayes, he was amazing. I know Floyd Newman. He was our first homecoming court king for the Jimmy Lunsford Jamboree Festival when we started having the homecoming court stuff back in 2017. He was one of Isaac Hayes' mentors or jugglers. He discovered Isaac Hayes. Everybody said, "Oh, this dude, he can't play." But Floyd Newman knew what he was hearing. And he said Isaac Hayes was the greatest musician he ever encountered. You know, but you had folks like Floyd Newman and Emerson Abel Jr., even Howard Grimes was discovered by Mr. Emerson Abel Jr. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was 12 years old playing at Satellite Records, and then they ended up going over Howard Grimes. They ended up going to Al Jackson Jr. Now, I spoke about Al Jackson Jr., whose father was a prominent band leader back in the day in Memphis, Al Jackson Sr. So there's a lot of history here that should be better known, and people need to just, I mean, there's so much richness here. And people think I'm a Looney Tune because, like, I wasn't even born in Memphis. I was born in Knoxville. So really, why should I be rooted here anyway? But it's something special about this city and about this area of the country that people need to know about. It's a powerful place. It's such like a lot of spiritualness. And that's why they do so much to undermine the greatness of this city, because they know, man, black folks, we some powerful people. Y'all think that being black, to be considered black, is a curse. It's a blessing. See, the curse is we don't know what the blessing of blackness is. Y'all keep telling me we do this. No, I'm gonna claim the black. I'm gonna flip the black. Black is power. Because y'all keep thinking black is curse, is death. When you have a great business, you in the black. When your business is fucked up, excuse my French, you in the red. So what does it mean to be? Why black is negative, but to help sound business, you gotta be in the black. So I'm gonna bet on black. Yeah, so let me shut up now. Let me play. Y'all get me in trouble. These neighbors, brother Ron be loud. Like, you got a circus up there. No, this ain't Al Green's home back in the 70s. We don't got no acts going on up here. But anyway, I'm just joking. I love Al Green. Wi-Fi don't fail me now. But let me play what this sister had to say. Larry Lee Widow. Y'all pay attention. We all be news free dicks for the 21st century.
Ask not what we all be can do for you. Ask what you can do for we all be.
All right, Sister Jackie Lee, we ready? I want to ask you, like, how did you meet Larry Lee?
Oh my God. Back in 71.
Okay.
I was in college. Well, I was beginning, college, and I met him at the club. What's that club? Peyton Plains Club.
Okay.
He had just got through with Jimmy, and moved back to Memphis, and so I met him at a club, the Peyton Plains Club. He didn't know me, I didn't know him, but he knew Calvin Graham, the saxophone player. And Calvin introduced him to me. I was a young girl, real young, didn't know anything. And he was a little bit older than I was. And that's what I liked about it. So we met at a club.
What type of impression did he make on you when you first met him at the club?
Well, I saw this big, nice looking man, and I'm not color struck, but I just saw this big, nice looking man. Mm-hmm. And he picked up his guitar and he looked over there and winked at me. And I said, just like that. So he started playing. I said, what kind of music is that? And Calvin said, it's psychedelic music. I said, what is that? And he was singing the music as he was playing on his guitar, analyzing himself, as he played guitar, he would, make the same sound with his mouth. So I guess it's like psychedelic music.
Okay. And like, when was y'all first date? Do you recall? Can you recall the first date?
I say about 4 months after I met him. The first date was about 4 months. We went to the Starlight Review, and Al was on the, on salary. Al Green. I'm sorry.
All right.
So anyway, Larry took me there, and Al was on the stage with these short and long boots. Mm-hmm. And he said, how do you like him? I said, he's cool. He said, how you like the way he dressed? I said, well, that's the new thing now. It's like back in the 70s. So he said, I'll be right back. I'm going to talk to him. I think I want to play with him. I said, well, that's cool. And so when he came back and he told me, he said, well, I'm gonna start playing with him. Do you want to travel with me? I said, no, because I was younger than he was. Mm-hmm. I said, I would have to ask my dad everything that I do. So when he met Larry and saw that Larry was a, well-raised gentleman, he told me it was okay to go, travel with him. And we traveled, had babies, traveled, had babies.
See, I had like, y'all was in love. Y'all was very much in love.
Very much in love.
So I'm gonna ask you, when you first saw him, you knew that he was gonna be somebody that's gonna play an important part in your life, or you didn't know that until
I didn't know that.
When did you know that he was gonna be that person?
Well, downtown Memphis, he took me downtown Memphis to this movie. Mm-hmm. And when we came out of the movie, it was like about 8:00 that night. And it was a jewelry store downtown. Mm-hmm. And he said, come on, I'm going to show you some jewelry. I want to buy you a ring. I said, okay, good. So I was looking at the ring. He said, pick out the ring that you want. I said, oh, that's a pretty diamond. He said, sure is. He said, but I want to marry you. I said, you can't marry me. I'm in school. You can't marry me right now. So when he said that I'm going to marry you, I thought about it. I said, oh, I like him. And here come the flowers and the roses and the candy and the traveling with Al. I mean, he had threw out the red carpet for me. He really did. And I never met a man like him before, never. So I just fell in love with him.
So what was like his greatest trait, you think, his greatest personality trait, in your opinion?
Himself. Himself.
Love for family.
Love for family?
Yeah, he loved his family. I mean, not being selfish. I didn't mean to say it like that. He was a family man, And he took care of himself and he took care of his family. But trying to be like somebody else, no, that wasn't him.
There's no like a stereotype for musicians of being like reckless or happy-go-lucky and carefree and not responsible. So Larry, he defied those stereotypes.
Yeah.
Very much so, he did.
Now, I'm like, he's a friend. He was a good friend with Jimi Hendrix, though. We all, you know, like it's like night and day.
You know, after he had found out about Jimmy's habits with drugs, which we know that if you read the book, that Jimmy didn't die from a drug overdose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just read the book and you'll find out the cause of his death.
What book is this that people need to read?
The name of that book is Jimi Hendrix Experience.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How did Larry meet Jimmy?
I think they met at school, this college in Nashville, University of Tennessee.
Okay.
In Nashville. He met up with him there. And most so, Ralph Cox, what's his name? Cox, the bass player.
Billy Cox.
Billy Cox,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. He introduced Larry to Jimmy, but Larry had already known Jimmy before he even, he introduced Larry to Jimmy.
Did he ever tell you about what he thought about Jimmy? I mean, did he ever share with you some of his moments and memories of Jimmy?
He shared a lot of moments because I always would ask questions about Jimmy. What type of person was he? Was he a funny guy? Was he a happy guy? He said Jimmy was a real cool guy. I said, if I could have met Jimmy, what would he have said to me? He said he would have loved you. He said he really would have loved you because, I'm tall with this afro, looking like Jimmy, but I'm a woman. Because I used to wear the blue jeans and the big, tops back in the days and stuff. And it was fun. It was fun. He shared a lot of memories, but I can't really remember because after Larry left Jimmy, he went ahead and started working with A.L.L. So I can't really remember everything that he told me, but he just told me about a lot of things about it.
Did he talk about his experience at Woodstock, one of the biggest concerts in the history of the world?
He couldn't stand that place.
He couldn't stand it?
He didn't like it.
Okay.
He said the people's, not talking about people's, but back then, the flower power stuff going on. He said it's just the way they was out there naked, and it was nasty, and it was just filthy. He didn't like it. Yes, he did. He told me that.
So he was more so like, even though he was a musician.
Okay. He's a child. Okay.
Yeah, even though he was a musician, he was more of a normal, down to earth guy.
He didn't like Woodstock.
He was a lover of animals, children. Take the kids places.
He loved people.
He loved traveling and stuff, but his main thing was the love of family and making sure his family was okay. Even the cats, the kittens, the puppy dogs. He was just he wasn't your normal musician.
I see.
He did his work on the road, I'm sure. And I was living in New York at the time, and I wasn't sitting far from they was at Yours Theater. I wasn't sitting far from the front of the stage. I was probably about on the 5th row. And I walked up to the stage, and Jimmy and Daryl came and pulled me up on the stage. And I said, we got some Memphis people here. But he was so concerned about, you want to go home? You want to go home? But he was a great musician. Great musician, but the most important thing to Larry was family.
Oh, wow.
Was family. He couldn't wait to get home and sit that guitar right there where that mirror is and come in here where his family was. And to brag about
what he really was talking about. He hated my cooking.
Well,
but he would always say, baby, that's some good food.
He loved her cooking. He thought she cooked.
No, he hated the cooking. I heard him when he said it.
He just ate it anyway.
That's the worst cook in the world.
The world of his wife.
He
thought the world of his wife and his family. He thought, he thought the world of her.
Wow, it's refreshing to hear that, actually.
He was a musician, and he traveled the roads and went some of it.
But what I'm not cutting you out saying, but what I'm saying, he was asking about did he like Woodstock, and I was just letting him know when he got off the helicopter.
The police department received a call reporting a dead body. doing something great is overrated. So people expect that from you all the time.
And stuff. And he said all these people's down there, they was naked and didn't have on clothes, and they was just look, they had been out there like 3 or 4 days. Who want to be in mud 3 or 4 days? You know, he didn't like that part, but he enjoyed the idea of being on stage with Jimmy.
Right. He actually performed several songs, Gypsy Woman, Mastermind.
Yes. He did a Nat King Cole song and 2 more other, I think a BB King song.
Okay.
And something else that he did, but they cut that out. They didn't play that.
Why they cut it out?
I don't know. And I've been trying to find out why did they do that. Because I want the raw version, but they didn't cut it out. I would like to hear him, you know, on the stage, but they cut him out. And they just started with Jimmy.
But he just came from Vietnam before he went to Woodstock, right? He was just coming out of Vietnam.
Yeah, just got back.
And he had got a metal plate from in his head from that.
No, what it was a grenade. He was over like 15 guys, and to save their life, he was telling them, get down, you know, get down, get down. And about that time he got down, the thing exploded and hit him in his head.
Wow.
And they rushed him, you know, the helicopter came and rushed him to the hospital. So they took him off the duty where he was out there fighting and put him in a little city. And the little kids would come around and play with him. Oh, he was crazy about children, you know, over there. He cared a whole lot about those peoples over there, you know, even though it was a war.
Was he conflicted about being on there then? I mean, did he agree with the war? Was he drafted?
He was drafted.
So okay. I mean, yeah, Muhammad Ali at the time, conscientious objective. Then, it's like he's a family guy, so I can see how Woodstock could be kind of hedonistic to him. I mean, he come out of a church background, very, you know, grounded, you know, very. I mean, I don't like to call it conservative, but this is very, I guess, this normal family thing. And to see people acting kind of hedonistic, and you know, that would be kind of like a culture shock to anybody, I guess, that's not used to it. But like, what I'm asking is, like, how did you hook up with Al Green? How did that happen?
Back in the 70s. Well, he was trying to get with Al. I think he said it was like 68. And he, you know, I think left service and got back like in 69 from the Vietnam War and went with Jimmy. And then when he came back, from Jimmy, you know, he went to the Woodstock thing, and Jimmy wanted him to play with him, and they went to this place that was in New York, and he said it was a big old hotel room, and everybody was just hundreds of people sitting up in that little room, and they was all just like high, you know, and Jimmy just walking around just smiling. Larry told him, I need to talk to you, Jimmy. And so Jimmy was kind of floating at the head, you know, of course, what they get high for, I didn't know, I was too young. But anyway, Larry came back the next day to let him know that he wasn't going to travel or play with him anymore, that he had found somebody else that he'd rather be with, because he didn't like the crowd that Jimmy was around. I mean, they just kept him drugged or whatever, you know.
I mean, it's kind of like, it's eerie to think about what you're talking about. I think about Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
And all the revelations coming out now about it. And it's like the way they control artists to keep them drugged up, to control their careers. You know what I'm saying? Like the powers that be that run that industry. Music industry is very interesting. I know you got some stories about that. But I know, my understanding, did he actually give Jimi Hendrix his winter coat to take with him to New York one time? And Jimmy was homeless for 6 weeks. The only thing he had was that winter coat?
Larry never mentioned that.
Okay.
If he did, it probably was personal to him and just really didn't want to say that. But he never did mention that to me. I know Jimmy gave him a lot of them little jackets with the shingles. He gave him 3 of those.
Did he ever keep all that? Did he keep that clothes that Jimmy gave him?
Yeah. They are in museums.
Okay. Now, what was his response? Did he ever tell you where he was at when you heard the news that Jimmy passed away, or what his response was?
Larry was at home when he heard that. He had just left that place to let Jimmy know that he wasn't going to work with him anymore. And about 3-4 days later, he found out Jimmy had died.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he just had an intuition that he knew the things that ain't gonna turn out too well.
He had a feeling. It was so many people. There was like two people that always would follow Jimmy, and Larry didn't like that feeling. He didn't like that feeling. He said it was gypsies, and he was trying to pull Jimmy out of that stuff, but Jimmy just, they kept pulling him in. They didn't like Larry because Larry was trying to save his life. Right. He saw what was happening. Anytime somebody want to destroy their life every day, like getting high for drugs and stuff, and if you got somebody that's close and they love you and they're going to try to take you away from that, and these people's pulling him back in, so I guess he must enjoy what they were doing.
It's like you talk about people. When I read about, I'm reading books about Charlie Parker and Miles Davis. People talking about an addict. The addict doesn't have a personality. I mean, but it's like Jimmy had a lot of personality still left in him.
Jimmy was a beautiful person, Larry said.
Even when he was using drugs.
Even when he was using drugs, but he didn't like seeing him, like that.
He cared about it. That makes sense.
Yeah, he did. He really didn't like it.
He said something. He told me once that something happened in that ambulance.
That's where they laid him back in the ambulance instead of sitting him up. When you aspirate,
right?
And they had been drinking a lot of wine and stuff, and they instead of them setting him up to keep the fluid, from going into his lungs, they laid him back, and so therefore he aspirated. And he
don't think it was a murder though. I mean, he think he was murdered. I mean, I be here like his manager.
Is it okay for me to say?
Yeah, I mean, you say what?
That my husband thought the FBI had something to do with it because he said that Jimmy had did something for the Black Panthers, and they didn't like that, and so they thought Jimmy was like anti-American.
He was in the army, right? He was 101st Airborne, right?
Yeah,
Screaming
he was in the
Eagles.
army. He was very what you call it word?
Patriotic. That Star Spangled Banner he did with class like Whitney Houston's national anthem.
He was very patriotic, and they didn't think that way, and they just started sending gypsies to him. Gypsy, get him high.
Interesting.
That's hilarious.
I also heard his manager was in British intelligence or something like that. He was an intelligence officer. Or he worked with British intelligence, his manager.
I think so. It's a little, Caucasian guy. Yeah, I think so.
I mean, people like, it's funny how they tell us a story. Cause I know I read stuff about Tupac and Biggie when they got killed. You had FBI on the scene. Or you talk to civil rights activists. You had FBI present when civil rights activists was getting beat up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even had some FBI in the Klan committing crimes themselves.
Right.
So why do you think people have a hard time believing that Jimmy was murdered instead of just dying of drug overdose?
Why do people think that Jimmy was murdered? Because if they read the book, they would understand what happened. If they get the book and read it, because I don't want to be out there. He say, she say.
Exactly. Know for yourself.
Read the book and they'll find out for themselves. I'm not gonna say because I don't know whether or not he was murdered or what. All I know, my husband went to talk to him about that he wasn't going to work with him, and that was about it. A couple of days later, he was gone.
Wow.
I mean, they had a document on the TV, and they said, well, this guy, I can't remember his name, but he was a Caucasian guy, and they said that Jimmy, the little funnel party where they put the little tube down your throat and pour the wine down in there. They said they had a party like that, and that's just the way they did.
Oh wow!
In the book, it tells you that the book that's in the library, it mostly tells you that about Jimi Hendrix. He was the type of person like all of us sitting here, and one person is a user and like the party, and the other person go along with him. Jimmy was like a person that try this, man, try this, okay. He'll try stuff. He wasn't like
so he was all about the experience.
Yeah.
He was right.
He, whatever somebody wanted him to do, it was like to fit in or something like that. He would try stuff. It wasn't like he was a user. I imagine if you keep trying it. But I read most of that book. It's a really thick book, and it takes a long time to read it. I really wish Larry was here for this interview. Because he could, really give the insights. He was Larry.
Jimmy had a private life. Larry said that he had a very private life too. It's just the idea when the gypsies came around and they just took him away from him.
Were they real gypsies or were they intelligence agents? I mean, were they agents?
They could have been, I don't know, but from my understanding, it was one girl that would stay with him all the time. And the night or day, I can't remember, I think it was a night. Yeah, it was kind of like early in the morning when he died. And they was looking for this girl, but they never could find her. When Jimmy died, that's when she left. Did
Larry feel threatened by these people? Did they try to threaten Larry while he was around Jimmy because they saw he was a common influence? Or?
No, because Larry wasn't going to have it. All right. He wasn't going to have it. He'll let him know. I mean, he just got out of the Vietnam War and like a little hero coming home.
And so that was the widow of Jackie Lee. Actually, the interview is long. I got to find the rest of it, but I guess that wraps it up. I got y'all in the chat. Anyway, we supposed to be in Atlanta. What's interesting about Memphis is that you go back 60 years. Memphis was right up there with Atlanta and Dallas and Nashville. They was all about the same. And then after Dr. King thing happened and, the political climate, all that stuff, Memphis fell far behind. Now, Nashville got more people, from my understanding, in terms of population than Memphis. Because for a long time, Memphis was the number one large city in Tennessee in terms of population. And Nashville surpassed us not too long ago, from my understanding. And it's all about design. This is engineered poverty, low expectations, temp agency land, warehouse land. It's like all by design by the people who run the city to make Memphis mediocre. But Memphis is not mediocre. It's the birthplace of modern America. I can make the case easy for that because FedEx is headquartered here. Also, the creation of the first supermarket was Piggly Wiggly back in 1916. That's the blueprint for the modern supermarket. I mean, I could just go on and on about Memphis' importance as being the distribution hub for the country. But that's another story. But Judge, he got big plans. He got big ideas. And we see what happened. 2023 seems far away, but, times move so fast. But with Jimmy, y'all should read, because like she said, she didn't know Jimi Hendrix. He was that. She met Larry after Jimmy died. She met Larry Lee in 1971. So there are things that I heard and read, like the winter coat thing that I read somewhere, and metal play. I mean, he got, it's a blessing that he didn't get his head blown off with the metal girl. But she didn't talk. I mean, I think we talked about Agent Orange as well in the interview. I gotta find the rest of the interview. We love you, Madly. Thank you for receiving. I appreciate y'all. Yeah, Jimmy was big because Judge Joe Brown. I was like, Judge Joe Brown like Jimi Hendrix. So I mean, I don't know who the hell Judge Joe Brown listened to. Jimi Hendrix was a hippie. Nobody black listened to Jimi Hendrix, hippie bastard. Look, Jimi Hendrix was a big supporter of the Black Panther Party. I mean, people around him say he gave a lot of money to the Black Panther Party. You got to understand the FBI, they neutralized John Lennon. He was a anti-war activist. See, John Lennon told Dick Gregory that they was brought here. The Beatles were brought here to get young people hooked on drugs. The Beatles are a product of the Tavistock Institute. Look at the Tavistock Institute. They even say Adolf Hitler was a product of the Tavistock Institute. And Adolf Hitler's birthday is coming up on April 20th. He's a Taurus on Aries cups. It makes sense. Queen Elizabeth's birthday is April 21st. And my birthday, April 23rd. I'm a Taurus on Aries cups. But, Roosevelt was blood sacrificed on April 12th, 1945 down in Georgia. Now, people saying he was murdered. And people back then in those circles knew that he was murdered. Because I talked about Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois. Like he said it in past. Now, that year they murdered Roosevelt. He said it in something I read allegedly he said. But I'm saying nobody dies a natural death in show business. And Jimi Hendrix's manager, Mike Jeffrey, was MI6. He was British intelligence. and he was over Jimi Hendrix's estate when he disappeared. Like they said that Mike Jeffrey got killed in a plane crash, but his body was never recovered, and he was British intelligence. But the Tavistock Institute, he told Dick, "Hey, we was out here to get kids hooked on drugs, like Lucy in the Sky with diamonds. That's LSD. LSD was created by the government. You think about Fort Detrick, Maryland. I remember the CIA scientist Frank Olson, who was suicided back in the 50s. They got a Netflix limited series called Wormwood that talks about him being killed by the government. They cover it up, and then Gerald Ford apologized to his family in the Oval Office back in the 70s. They were paid reparations for the murder, the state-sponsored assassination of their patriarch. So it's a lot to get into, but y'all underestimate. We underestimate who we are. Now, Jimi Hendrix, y'all know he was Native American, right? He was Aboriginal. You could look at him and tell he was Indian, right? Real Indian. His mom was Indian. You look at the way his facial features are. He's Aboriginal, as y'all like to call. But it's interesting studying this stuff, and it's a lot to get into. It could get overwhelming, but just be open to receiving the information. And the best thing to do is to hide the contradictions. Like tonight, we talked about the different theories or how the different perspectives on what happened on October the 18th, 1974 with Al Green and Mary Woodson. Most murders go unsolved anyway. But with Jimi Hendrix, like soon after Jimi Hendrix got killed, they killed Janis Joplin. Right across the street where he found the body of Bobby Fuller. The dude said they fought the law and the law won. They found his body in his car. His body had gasoline all over it, like somebody was trying to set him on fire. You know what I'm saying? So she was died right in the hotel across the street where he lived at, and when they found his body. But she died after Jimi Hendrix died. Janis Joplin did. So nobody dies a natural death in show business, but yeah, I think they messed with his passport, kind of like Paul Robeson. Okay, well, there's a lot of work to do. Thank you, Memphis. I appreciate it. Thank everybody been donating. We love you madly. It is by design. They want Memphis to be a poor city, but Memphis not poor. You got a lot of millionaires that live in Memphis. Fred Smith lives in Memphis. The founder of FedEx, he's a billionaire. But the majority of people are kept impoverished by design. There's a lot of talented people in Memphis, but if you don't know who you are and your worth and your value, you'll never rise above their soft bigotry of low expectations. If you don't know who you are, that's why I'm saying, like, what I do, I want to talk about this. Because Larry Lee and all these guys, they came, there's something about Memphis, man. And that's why Andrew Jackson them named this place Memphis. They knew who we were. They knew who we be. They do know. I'm going to say they do know who we be. But we don't know who we be. That's the problem. Yeah, Memphis is a powerful place. Like I said, Dr. King, he had, Dr. King's favorite singers from Memphis, J. Robert Bradley, who was trained by Lucy Campbell, the mother of gospel music, who also helped mentor Mahalia Jackson, who taught at Booker T. Washington for decades. Booker T. Washington was the high school where Maurice White, the founder of Earth, Wind, and Fire, comes from. He's not from Chicago. He's from South Memphis. He went to Booker T. Washington High School. Maurice White, the founder of Earth, Wind, and Fire. The guy who taught about, all this African spirituality, he's from Memphis. Named after Memphis, Egypt. So, yeah, the struggle continues, the marathon continues. Thank y'all for being very patient. Read my disclaimer. I think I'm gonna take a break, but I'm gonna just I'm not gonna live stream for several days. My life is a mess, man. I just trying to get myself together. But disclaimer, The views expressed by hosts and guests on the We All Be TV platform are not the official views, opinions, beliefs, or perspectives of We All Be News or the We All Be Group Incorporated. We All Be News is an organization that thoroughly believes in supplementing the information narrative that is usually supplied by the corporate news entities with those viewpoints and expressions which may be marginalized or ignored for a plethora of reasons. We are about informing the general public on alternative perspectives as it relates to news and information, and letting the general public be the ultimate judge in deciding on how to use said information. Informed citizens are responsible citizens. Thank you for your support, and thank all the people that donated Cash App on here as well. We love you madly, and the best is yet to come. Like I said, I'm taking some type of epic road trip in out April, but I have the goods coming into May and June. We got a lot of other great things planned, but we're gonna keep this information out there going and circulating. But we like the words from Brother Hurd. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you, sir. Oh, that'd be interesting because there's no statute of limitations on murder. None taken. Dr. Short is still around. I don't know why Dr. Short, he said his first channel was taken down. Dr. Short has a second channel up. Randy Lancaster Short. And I don't know what's going on with Dr. Short. But may the force be with him as always. May the righteous ancestors continue to protect and guide and offer safe patches for our dear brother Dr. Short. But there's a price to pay when you speak truth. And everybody don't want to pay the price of omission. Because truth, then to be a truth seeker, to be a truth speaker is a lonely existence for the most part. And like I learned that, it's interesting. Yeah. But thank y'all so much for being good sports and listening. And I'm glad can be of service to you all. Yeah, Sister Betty Jones, we love you madly too. I thank you so much. I think everybody, Sister Tara, Tiara Jones, you know you are. That's why I say I love black women, man. I love the sisters. I really do. Like I said, I don't care about no some that pandemic stuff. Hey, it's a pretty brown skin, pretty red bone, pretty dark tone. Woman down for me, it's a roll them dice. So I would say. If I play it right now, that means I'm gonna get a fine, and we call that because it's after hours where I'm at right now. So if I played it right now, I will get fined. But I'll probably use that $100 to pay the fine. So thank y'all for listening, and thank y'all for receiving. Thank y'all. I guess we held up the live stream. Not too many interruptions. The show continues. The marathon continues. Thank y'all. Y'all have a great night. Always support Cash App, $R2C2H2, Google Pay, PayPal, Venmo, R2C2H2 @gmail.com. I mean, not Venmo, but Zelle, R2C2H2 @gmail.com. Then Venmo is at R2C2H2. You can buy Artivist art, R2C2H2.com. You can wear Artivist art. It's my Burt Williams shirt. I love this shirt. Go down below the description box. If you're on YouTube, you can access our official Teespring site. I got some new stuff on there as well. But know that the best is yet to come. Be kind to yourself. Be loving. Be patient. Be forgiving towards yourself so you can practice that on other people that look like you. So the words of Duke Ellington, we love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing. Black knowledge matters. Thank y'all so much. One love.